Hello and welcome back to Upstate New York. I am Carson Cass and this is Jack Elliott. We're live with more Power Esports Conference action where it's week 7 against the University of Southern California. And Jack, I'm very excited for some Overwatch.
As am I, Carson. This is my first ever Overwatch cast. Fun fact. So I am super excited to get to break down some things tonight. Lots of new things coming into the matchup for this evening, including the perk system. Carson, tell me about it.
So the perk system is kind of like you're playing a story game, or maybe if you're in a league, like building your character. A lot more simplified than that. But throughout the game, characters will get perks and they will get upgrades to their characters that change some abilities in like the form of Orisa, where that old shield comes back. If you're familiar with the older game around 2018 when Orisa came out, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But back to that old shield, the deployable shield replaces the spear. Talking about Sojourn, you get another dash. It's all about upgrading the character to play the way you want to play. It's not as specialized as a game like League or a game like Deadlock, but it is kind of like a story tree, and it can completely change the way a character plays.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see it in terms of Genji tonight. Genji will, depending on the perk, will get an additional Swift Strike, which is going to be huge, especially for getting in, getting out, getting some quick kills, especially on some squishier characters. And I'm really excited to see how Syracuse faces up against a fairly even opponent in what should be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, and we're both they're 2 and 3. We're 2 and 2 in the spring. That might be the most important thing. Seeding's not set for Vegas. That's a very important thing to look at tonight as we go into the end of the season. It is week 7, but we've only played 4 games. Last week's game against Nebraska. Yes, Nebraska rescheduled to over spring break or after spring break, so the final seeding will be there. But if Syracuse wins tonight, it'll be a really good reflection on the program developing as a whole. They were 1 and 5 last year at the end of the fall semester. Already doubled that win total, can triple it tonight, and potentially get 4 and 2, be one of the top seeds when you head down to the Sin City. But time will tell. They have to win tonight, and USC is a very good opponent. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so USC, they are a very, I would say, honestly, a similar program to Syracuse, but they've been very up and down this spring. They are either winning 3-0 or losing 3-0. And that is very telling. I think it's very interesting. Syracuse, on the other hand, managed to keep things close with every single one of their opponents. I think that's super interesting. The last time Syracuse played in PEC play was a few weeks ago in a 3-1 win against Oklahoma. But that wasn't the last time this Syracuse team has played Overwatch, is it, Carson?
No. This weekend, I was trying to remember what you were going through there. This weekend, they went to the Midwest Battlegrounds from my hometown, Chicago. Gotta love that. They did really, really well. Top 5 overall, or were the 5th place team. Lost, I think, in the winner's bracket, fell out of the winner's bracket to the eventual 2nd place team in a 3-2 matchup. Got swept by DePaul in the loser's bracket, but 5th overall was a very good place for them to finish. And even on Sunday, in a game that a lot of Overwatch players are familiar with, Marvel Rivals, they ended up placing second overall in Rivals. So they were pretty happy about that. Good momentum heading into the week, even though they haven't played in 2 weeks. But this team has not been 3-0'd since DePaul, and before that, all the way since week 5 of fall.
Yeah, week 5 of fall against Kansas, Carson. They lost 0-3. Really impressive stuff from this team, a team that is absolutely growing, getting better, stuff we love to see. Stuff we love to see for the arc of this esports program as a whole. Something we've been talking about, I've been talking about since I've been casting, is the blossoming and the growing of this esports program, along with the new Shine Gaming and Esports Center, and just how excited that makes me.
If you're a student and you haven't checked it out, this place is a crown jewel of collegiate esports. It's so beautiful. It's so much fun, and we love it here. And we got a bunch of players here that are very good. You kind of see them on stage. We get player cams are super fun. It's a very immersive space to be involved with esports. But yeah,
absolutely. And let's talk about the team comp. Let's talk about who we're going to see here for the Orange tonight. So for our tank, we're getting Lunar. He's going to be playing an Orisa, a Ram, other things. You know, a bunch of different characters. Carson, break down the team. Break down where they're all from. I think that's a really interesting tidbit that we have tonight.
Yeah, one of our biggest tidbits, obviously, for that is Lunar. Lucas, on the other side, the Orisa Ram player, is from LA. So you're going from, I guess, your hometown, playing your hometown team. Azer, all the way from Long Island. Speed, Steve from China. Jackson Saint, one of the supports from Philly. And Max, whose birthday it is. Happy 20th birthday, Max, is from Manhattan, New York.
Big shout out there, the birthday boy from the Big Apple. We love to see it, and we're hoping that the Syracuse Overwatch team can deliver a win tonight for his birthday. That would be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot matchup, very hot in here, but we've got so much Overwatch to be played tonight. It's a best-of-5 format if you're unfamiliar. USC, though, very important, the teams they beat and the teams we beat, we have had the exact same wins against the exact same teams in very similar ways. The only big difference here, you want to talk about similar matchups, we 3-2 Ohio State, but they 3-0 Ohio State. But they've never taken a game off Boise. We took games off Boise. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to come down to the comps. Obviously, you match up against some teams better. Boise's a very good brawl and dive team. We're a very good dive team. Brawl, we're getting there, certainly. I think they took a massive step this weekend in Brawl. But again, we haven't seen this team play in over 2 weeks. It's like the end of last semester, that fall semester. They basically got an extra 2 weeks of break, 2 weeks of practice to go in there. We see that right here. Could be a tune-up game as you head back to after break, right? You're going to play Nebraska, and you go all the way down to the Sin City, see what you can do, see if you can make some noise at land. That is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Nebraska, the only team where we can really say we haven't seen what Syracuse can do against them this spring, but we have seen what USC can do against them. USC lost 0-3. So if Syracuse once again can, even a couple weeks from now, win a couple win the matchup against Nebraska, I mean that would be really big. That would be a statement to the talent that they have over this USC team.
Yeah, and you're taking it one game at a time, though. You got to take this first game against USC in mind. It's one of the biggest parts about esports. You don't want to look ahead to your next opponent, and some guys are better like that. They can plan for today's opponent, and while they're waiting for this opponent, they can plan for tomorrow's opponent. Some guys got to lock in, got to just go in today, go in every day, one day at a time. Everybody's different about it. Ryan, obviously, the head coach, Ryan Blankenhorn. You see him a lot in this booth, but tonight he's behind all of them over there on stage. I don't see him, actually. He's somewhere, I know, but probably getting water. To be honest with you, his water bottle exploded, I think. So someone's did over there. Anyway.
And it's rather warm in here, so some water will be very, very nice, especially for the players as they are battling this one out. Personally, I will be utilizing my water often throughout the evening.
Yes, so an important part about perks, I just remembered, this weekend was the first time they've used perks. Jackson Saint was speaking to me earlier about it. Completely misused the perks. Low-key was like not there at all with the perks, just did not know what was going on. They've learned. Obviously, it's very tough when it gets announced 2 weeks before you go to a tournament and it gets implemented 3 days before you go. Long time to learn, or a lot to learn in a very short time, rather. And obviously the next month to get there, but it's going to be their first Power Esports Conference matchup with the perks. I have to see what they do here, but I'm not sure it's going to be great for both sides, and I think we're going to see some varying strategies, but I think what you will see a lot, if there is an Orisa, that shield coming back is huge. It allows Orisa to play mid-range.
Absolutely, and it allows Orisa to take so much space, especially at the beginning matches. Contesting point, going to be really cool to see that. Orisa, one of my favorite characters in Overwatch, probably the only character that I really, really played, really mained. So I'm excited to see some Orisa play. But it's very interesting the way that esports works as things change in the games. In a physical sport, you're not going to see like a rule change like that mid-season. You're not going to be like, all right, we're changing it. Now there's going to be 4 strikes to a strikeout in baseball. That's not going to happen. But that is something that happens in esports as games are updated, as things change. We might see Overwatch go back to a 6v6 mode and in coming weeks, and that would be just, frankly, insane.
And a lot of people are calling for that now with the addition of Marvel Rivals. 6 characters in that game. Feels a lot more fluent. 2 tanks is a very natural thing, I think, for a lot of Overwatch players. You talk about GOATs for such a long time, even up to 3 tanks. But yeah, as you head down, this is a very big matchup for Sin City implications. USC, a bit of a home field advantage for them. They're the closest team to that area. But this game is important for seeding. You win, you're a higher seed than the other team, basically, because they're done. Syracuse, if they win and then lose to Nebraska, they're the higher seed overall against USC no matter what. If they lose tonight, lose against Nebraska, they're going to end the season 2-4, a little bit better than last season. But got to take it one game at a time. You're 2-2, massively improved at 500. It's where you want to be if you're Ryan and this Overwatch team.
Absolutely. Heading into this matchup, I think about even is exactly like heading into the closing stretch of the season, playoff implications coming. This is when pressure starts to take effect. This is when players start to perform under pressure because the implications of every game. Like you can take a look at like the first week 2-3 to Kansas that Syracuse had and say, all right, they were starting, but it didn't exactly work out. Now pressure is going to be a factor.
Yeah, and pressure either makes you crumble or turns you to diamonds. We'll have to see just in a little bit later. We'll be right back with the Power Esports Conference action in just a moment. Welcome back to upstate New York, where we just took a brief little break. I've got some Overwatch action coming in here soon. We are delighted, honestly, to get this one started. A bit late, but it's going to be twice as much fun. I think we're going to see a very close contested matchup here. We talked about it earlier. USC very close to Syracuse in terms of opponent strength and who they beat, and everybody took games off of. Syracuse is yet to get 2-0'd, or 3-0'd rather, in this conference since October of last year, so we'll have to see. Should be a close one either way, no matter who wins, so kind of very excited for that.
Absolutely. Syracuse yet to be 3-0'd or win 3-0 since the fall. And so this is a bit of a case of a unstoppable object, or an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. So the question for me personally is Syracuse going to finally get 3-0'd or 3-0 someone, or is USC finally going to take a game off someone?
I would say the opposite, because if you're an unstoppable force, like you've been 3-0ing people, it's like more like stoppable object versus stoppable object versus decently strong force.
Yeah, I'd say that's a better way to put it. You're right.
It's we've got plenty of great analogies coming your way soon. Those are the players down there from left to right. That is, left to right. That's I do know this. Steve. It's different on mine. Okay, wait, no, it's Steve, and then it's Harry.
All right. Anyways, we're going to get into the game now. Things are starting to charge up. You can see the ults have already started to charge. My favorite part of the game, when they sit around at the beginning and the ults charge. But we're already starting to see some action, and teams are starting to poke at each other.
Yeah, right off the bat here, Lunar going to lead the charge. You're going to see the spear come out here at some point, but obviously not for long. We're going to see that mid-range shield come down immediately from Ram on the other side. ZZZ and Lunar each get one. It's a trade overall, but no healers down for either side, missing one DPS between the two. Back right side, Speed Glass is looking to get a pick. Z nearly goes down, but again, just missed picks for the Overwatch team has been one of their biggest issues, not being able to chase down healers, not being able to finish off the picks that they need to. Z gets Saint. That's very big for the other USC side. And Syracuse need to recover properly here. Speed Glasses goes down as well. Echo really changing the way this fight's been going. 3 kills already in the first team fight.
Absolutely, 4. And down goes Lunar, and as does M3. It's not looking too great for the Orange already off the bat. They've been picked off one by one. They're really getting staggered so far.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Saint. Had to back up, as well as Max there had to go away. Happy birthday once again, the Lucio player, if you are curious. The 20th birthday from Manhattan, we mentioned. Very fun. Good day to have a birthday. Maybe get a win on your birthday would be very nice, too. But obviously your Syracuse Orange are in red, and the blue is the USC Trojans. Back right side, we're seeing an off angle from Saint to heal this team.
Yeah, Saint just trying to use that main healing attack just to get some health back for his team. But once again, we're going to see Lunar contesting point. That's really what you're going to see.
Lunar Azer get LCI, and ZZZ as Karma goes down as well to Lucio. That's good for the Syracuse side. That's a great, just a good team fight win, good capture. Azer gets the last one at EDL, and Ace the last 2 to go down for the USC side, and the Trojans get team killed. Syracuse, great team fight there. Off angles from both healers allowed them to stay alive longer than we saw. But that Echo neutralized very early. Already has that ult, as well as a Riss on the other side. We're going to see some deployment ults here. As I say, that Saint brings Kitsune rush out. LCI gets Azer in the action. And that rush not doing much to help the Syracuse side as they lose 2. Saint and Azer go down specifically. See that charge forward with that spear. Karma nearly goes down, but just has no support there for Lunar as LCI gets Speed Glasses, and Syracuse right after getting that point just goes down right immediately. It's going to be USC Trojan point again. Yeah,
down goes Lunar. They weren't able to hold it for too long. You know, things got closer in percent. Syracuse up to all the way to 30% now compared to, well, I mean, USC has control of the point. They're all the way up to 50, but SU now going to have to regroup, put the team back together and make a push on point.
3 offensive ults for the Syracuse Orange here, and no Lucio on point for the remaining 3 seconds till they get on point, to be honest with you. Very quick character, obviously. Z gets Azer, another pick for that Echo, which has been game-changing so far for USC. ZZZ put them all to sleep, unfortunately, for the Syracuse side. Speed Glasses right side has an off angle here. Going to have to deal with the healer as LCIE gets Saint, and Lunar goes down as well. Syracuse without a tank and missing a support.
Yeah, Azer has ult, but honestly, it's not going to be a smart idea to pulp here. Lucio goes down again. SU back to just 1 fighter on point. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. They're just getting zoned out of this game right now.
Yeah, and you're on King of the Hill here, so it's unfortunately running out of time to use the ult in a smart way. You got to use it or lose it here for Azer as Max going to have the ult here soon on Lucio. Should be very good on the offensive end, but a defensive support ult here could be good for USC. We're in overtime. ADL gets one. Lunar goes down. No supports for the Orange, or rather no DPS for the Orange, as both supports go down eventually. And overtime ends very quickly as the Trojans, just honestly, just like Troy.
Pardon me? I mean, yeah, just like Troy, I suppose they wiped the floor with them for that first round, if we're being honest. That is, SU managed to contest a couple seconds, but it was just excellent team play from USC, from the Trojans, that saw them take that first matchup.
I mean, lacking the Trojan horse, obviously, they were pretty sure what was going on there on the Syracuse side. But yeah, USC has been very good. They're a lot like the Syracuse team you mentioned. They were not great, 1-5 in the first semester as well. And just couldn't improve, couldn't find an improvement anywhere. Once you got it through the winter break session, though, they had the same thing. They found that team. They found that identity. A few other USC programs have done the same thing. They're a lot like us in terms of that improvement. The program's obviously a bit more different in just how they're run and all that, but the team's skill has improved on both sides. And once we get to Vegas, I'm very excited to see these two match up once again. And this is going to be a good, I think, peek into Vegas. These teams should see each other in some games, and this might be one of the peaks into that online LAN tournament.
Absolutely. It should be a great time. Super excited for Vegas. Huge seeding implications, as we mentioned in the pregame, for this game right here.
USC wins. They're guaranteed the 4 through 6 seed, or rather the 3 through 5 seed, I believe, depending on how it all shapes out and round differentials and all that. Lunar on point, going to give the space for Syracuse. They have that, the Orange have that the point, basically, and are forcing them back into that choke point up top. Again, very, very good space taking from Orisa, but Ram has a really good ability that Orisa does not have right now in that shield.
Yeah, absolutely. Orisa's play so far, just taking space there against Ram, kind of zoning Ram out of the fight. Really impressive stuff. That's been the most impressive player for me so far in the second round for the Orange is Orisa.
Yeah, very quick start. First team fight not over yet. They've transitioned toward that left side, back towards where they spawned, 24% for the Orange. A very good team fight. If they end up losing it, they still get a good percentage of chunk out of it. Lucio, very hard to get for Azer right now. Back off that right side, getting some damage, fall off away. As ZZZ goes down, that's very good for the Orange. Ace gets Lunar in the process, though. The Orange are without a tank, without a healer for the Trojan side. Back up top, they're going to the underside of this map, and it should be... I guess I said Orange basketball. That's not at all what we're playing. LCI gets Saint. Another support goes down for the Orange, but one more for the Trojans. What a job from Speed Glasses. Slide and right click there. Speed Glasses gets 2 in the chaos. Speed Glasses goes down. Karma gets Max, the last Syracuse offender, but the tank is back in time for the Orange.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're seeing some great play from Tracer, from Azer so far, just finding those off angles, really being able to pick off those squishies for USC. That's a huge reason why the Orange have been so heavily contesting the point so far, but right now it's about even on point.
Bit of a desperation ult when they didn't need it there from Orisa, but the Kitsune Rush going to help them out here. Same thing, no tank, and that's one of the biggest parts about a 5 versus 6 player matchup, is you have one tank and you live and die by that tank. Max goes down in the Chaos ADDL. Feels like a bit of a waste of that Orisa ult and that Kitsune Rush.
Absolutely. Now just saving up ult here. It's tough for the Orange. They have to regroup here. They have to get everybody back on the same page. That is the worst feeling when you are staggered and you know that you can't do anything about it. Orisa now pushing back to point, using that javelin throw. That javelin throw so effective.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Big Ten play right here. Very gritty, very close, and that ult advantage really going to be good for USC, and we're seeing it right there. ZZZ still shut down despite the Lucio ult. Very good stuff from Speed Glasses we see so far. Extremely good aim we've seen from them. They've needed to improve it, and honestly, you've seen it. If you watch that first Overwatch game, Speed Glasses has been one of the most improved Oranges as Azer goes down. And the Citrus side is going to win this team fight, 82%. 5-player kill streak for Azer. Back to that right side, just going to be poking and dealing damage, making them be more cautious about their space as they hit 90%. Going to need to go all out here for the USC side.
Yeah, Azer's absolutely hot right now, and the Orange with Orisa pushing up towards the spawn of USC and doing a good job forcing them out yet again with that javelin spin, pushing them back, getting some space, and there you go. The Orange secure the objective.
Overwatch is a game all about momentum and spacing, and you see that a lot. We say the word space about 500 times, and there's a reason for it. I mean, you're talking about a line of objective, a line of team fighting where that is the front of the battlefield, and wherever that line is pushed is where you're playing around, and Syracuse is doing a really good job of keeping that line towards the USC side and moving back. That's a very good round too, and Syracuse needs to do that again here, but cannot have what happened in the first game. poor ult usage that second round, more than the first game, but the first game you didn't really use your ults. Have to be quick about it, have to not struggle with it. You need to play smart, and you do not need to hesitate. That's one of the biggest things here.
If for as dominant as that first game was for USC, the second game was just as dominant for the Orange, and we're going to get to see really why that was now. We're going to get to see how things break down in the third game, see what the changes that these teams make are.
And a bit of a paradise setting here. I thought we were about to see some Soldier, but we are seeing Torbjorn from Z, the Echo player. That's not one you see too often. And we'll see if those turrets can do anything for that USC side, who are struggling again with Azer, who has been all over the back line.
The off angle play from Azer right now is ridiculous. The effective use of that blink and that ability to just get back, the effective use of the ability to get back in time, regain that health, it's so impressive so far.
That's one more for Speed Glasses. How many times am I going to say that tonight? Orange push forward, don't really win the team fight, but push USC back far enough to get the point and objective. Lunar in that other top tunnel area. Azer gets one more. Torb goes down again. CGZ dominant that first round. Hasn't found that same success the rest of this game. Speed Glasses gets ADDL. Going back to that right side, Syracuse owning the spacing here.
Yeah, Orisa still using the space, using especially that javelin throw really to effect, to control the fight, and to get some picks, get some assists so far.
Absolutely, and Speed Glasses has been a huge part of that, getting rid of ZZZ, who's done the majority of the damage for the USC side. I don't know what Ryan told these guys between the first round and second round, but whatever it is working very well. Some contention from their Sojourn, who's been switched into that position. Back on the right side, LCIE still down there right side. Diva helped them out. Kitsune Rush from the Orange should be pretty big here. Unless you're going to get spaced automatically just from having to stay out of it. It's going to keep USC off for the time being. LCI gets Speed Glasses. Speed Glasses gets ADL. Lunar gets one more. Azer, it's trading all around. Arista ult. Bang! Down goes Torbjorn. And the turret will too. Right side, Diva alone, isolated, and falls into the water.
Yeah, I mean, that's so unfortunate. Taking a swim, Diva, you know that water's not going to work out well with that robotic mech armor. There's a fritzing out in there, and down goes Diva. And the Orange are absolutely dominant.
How didn't they know? It's so simple. You don't pour water in your computer unless you do. Some people do that. Liquid cooling.
That's true.
Either way, Azer again delaying and causing staggering from this other side, or at least forcing it. Has to force them to turn around, which has been very good for the Orange. We're moving forward, taking more space because they're looking back at Azer. And Azer has a pulse bomb, gets one in the form of Torbjorn. Back down right side, Kitsune Rush from the other side. Full ults for USC here. It's going to be a matter if they can get to use them or not. Pulse bomb should go down here at will. Won't get anybody. Back right side, Ace going to get Azer.
Yeah, Azer finally goes down, but simply dominant play from Azer, just poking and prodding. Really wonderful stuff so far.
Back in overtime, Karma, LCI, Lunar, and Max go down. That's going to be a team fight win for USC, the first since they got that point back in round 2, but 99% for the Orange. It's a grab and go at this point. Win a point, and you are out of this game with a Game 1 win. Best of 5, as we mentioned earlier. Now an ult advantage for Syracuse, or should develop once you get the ult from Kitsune Rush. Should be about even, rather.
Yeah, Speedglass is going to try and go find that off angle yet again, find a way around, pick off some of the more squishy characters for USC. USC still has 2 ults ready, though.
Yeah, you're going to see Molten Lava potentially here as we got the ult from Speed Glasses. Gets one with that right click. Nails the Sojourn one more, 2 times. Down, Saint, right side, going to win that Sojourn battle. And yep, it's over. Syracuse capped the point, and Syracuse going to win Game 1.
Really wonderful stuff. I was quaking in my boots after the first game. I was like, uh-oh, this might not go too well for the Orange. But whatever Ryan said, whatever he told them, it appears to have worked. I mean, the ult usage was a little sloppy, as we talked about in Game 2, but really turned it on Game 3.
Yeah, and ult usage here, we talked about round 1 was their best ult usage after round 2, but to ADDL, really, really good start, that is, of course.
Yeah, loved what I saw so far for the Orange. Picking up that first win gets you momentum. We talk about how important momentum is in-game. The concept of staggering, so big. But momentum is also important for the players, for game-to-game matchups. It feels good to pick up the first win.
Yeah, the Trojans there, obviously a very good Kiriko, but I want to highlight Saint. Had a lot of pressure on them and did a great job. Won those 1v1s when they needed to against that Sojourn, against that Kiriko, and had great ult usage at the end there. Let the Orange stay in the fight a little bit longer every time they used it. Maybe some not great ult usage from everybody else, but it happens. I mean, everybody I think screwed up and all for the orange side there. It's about timing, and sometimes you think you have the right play. You know there's a healer. The healer doesn't notice that you're low. You saw that with the Orisa ult. There was a healer right there, and just couldn't get there in time, and there was 4 defenders pressuring them from the USC side. So it's all about timing in Overwatch, and that's one of the biggest things. And hitting that Q button, it can be a lifesaver. It can ruin your game if you don't have it later on, but it can win a game outright. And you see that Kitsune Rush all the time.
Absolutely, and the ult misses didn't really punish the Orange, especially in round 2. They were still super dominant, and in round 3, I mean, we saw it, the pulse bomb miss. It was like, okay, didn't get anybody with the pulse bomb. Orange still in a dominant position, even though USC managed to recapture point for a couple moments.
It's Tracer. You're going to miss the pulse bomb. It's not an easy throw to hit, and everybody's moving. You're throwing out a Lucio, too. I mean, that's tough. It's a tough one to hit all the time, and it still allows space. It makes the other team more careful, and when you throw it down on the ground, you know they're going to move to the right, so it allows Tracer to be more predictive about where they're going to go, what they're going to do next, and allows Tracer to, I guess, understand the next 5 seconds of the game a little bit better, and that kind of what it feels like. I talk about it a little bit with racing a lot, but now that I kind of think about it, Overwatch is a really similar really similar thing. You're thinking about the long term, sure, but you're a lot just locked into those next 5 seconds. What's going to go on next 5 seconds? You're on a straightaway. You're in between 2 team fights. What am I going to do this next team fight that's going to let me win?
Absolutely, and the Orange were dominant in team fights. I think they lost 1 over the last 2 rounds. They basically didn't lose a team fight, and a lot of that, I think, is due to the play of the Orisa being able to stay on point for so long, so just the opposite of squishy. It's a tank. You're not dying. You're not dying easily, and didn't at all.
Obviously it's a tank, so you are the focal point of the offense.
Absolutely.
You are the LeBron James, but you have your distributors, you have your Wade and your Bosch and your DPS, and you've got the unsung heroes, your 6 men in the form of supports. It's been very, very good for the Orange. They've found out how to get this, I guess, this machine working in Overwatch, and you can see that here. They're against an equal team here, and they rolled through them those last 2 games, and they made a great improvement after the first round. They answered to what USC was doing. They called upon the right players at the right time, and they forced USC to change, and they got uncomfortable in that change. I mean, you do not see Torb often, and ZZ might just be a Torb player. I mean, I love Torb. I can't lie to you. My second gold gun was Torb. It's Junkrat and Torb, so make your opinions of me as you will. I'm sure they'll be bad.
They're poor.
They're poor opinions, fair enough. But I have the most fun. You cannot have more fun than me, possibly.
Yeah, something we talked about a lot is with that importance of this being a 1-tank game is you lose your tank, you're kind of screwed. And listen, I'll say, as somebody who I'm very familiar with a six-player hero shooter like Marvel Rivals, that feeling when they pick the 3rd DPS instead of the 2nd tank and you have to solo tank is quite frankly one of the most infuriating in gaming, probably up there with like a missed ult or just getting no healing.
Yeah, and our bans are going to come in for next match, too. I forgot they are bans. I believe last time was Juno, and I forgot the second one. However, you might be seeing someone behind us. That's Saint. We talked about him earlier. One of the support players was playing Kiriko the majority of that match. Very good game, obviously. We mentioned those Kitsune rushes, winning those 1v1s. And, a lot of support here for the casters. I can feel his red beating eyes looking into the back, piercing through the back of my skull right now.
His aura is strong, and it just seemed like he was perhaps just punching us there. He was just giving us the business. 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know why. We're through glass. It's not like he can do anything to us, but I think it's a sign of affection.
The door is very open, so if you're hearing me, Jackson, you can don't come in here. But
Please don't.
Yeah, so the bans are going to be Farah and Kiriko. That's pretty big for Saint, the man we just talked about right there. Freshman, I believe. Nope. Yes, freshman. And going to be here for a while. And we talk about that. A lot of young players on this Overwatch team. And the support in fairly good hands. You see, we talked about Jackson a lot, but Max, happy birthday, Max, again. I will say that every time I mention Max, I think.
Yeah, okay.
That's fair. I mean, it's 20th birthday.
Everyone has double digits.
If you just turned in... What do you mean double digits?
Please ignore what I just said.
Is turning 9 to 10? Sorry. Either way, Farah and Kiriko are going to be fairly big bans. You don't have that upper echelon of Farah gameplay for that opening point, which is what you see a lot along with Widowmaker. But we're seeing some interesting picks from that defensive side. Mauga going to come out as well with Juno. We're going to see Azer. Oh boy, seeing the classic Kings Row moment.
This should be an exciting moment again. Glad to see Lunar back on Orisa. I mean, I'm going to shout out Orisa every time it happens because it's like the thing that I know, and I love the thing that I know. And so I'm just going to keep talking about it. We're getting ready to attack now, though. 5 seconds left, and Rowan, excuse me, not Rowan. That's my other guy.
That's the Smash caster. Make sure you tune into those broadcasts on Thursday, not this Thursday.
Pardon me. Carson, what do you think of the team comp for the Orange here?
It's pretty standard for the Orange. They're playing what they like. They're playing what they know. You're seeing Echo for the first time. Azer, that's obviously a response to what they were seeing earlier, maybe in ZZZ. I could just say Z, to be honest with you. There's 3
I think
Zs.
1Z's fine.
You get it. 3Z on the right side. And the Orange are going to play a split push here. Azer going to get Z on that right side. Speedglass is going to infiltrate that back line. They're defending the healer up top. That's Brig. As Speedglasses goes down to that other Sojourn. But Azer going to get ADDL in the process. That's missing a support on either side. As Azer going to go down in that one more to Mauga. Mauga great at taking space, and you're seeing why. Just oppressive damage. And the Spear going to be there to try and counter it. Right side going to fortify back towards that left and use the Spear to get away.
Absolutely. Was able to take that first point. Didn't end up happening. SU now really just has to defend, and we're seeing Orisa's space-taking ability just come into play yet again. And
Pressure's on. Pressure's on as Mauga goes down, and we're seeing a lot of this Syracuse team is very good at knowing what they're supposed to do, and that goes into the coaching as well. We talked about Ryan Blankenhorn in here. He's as talented in the booth as he is outside there, talking to his players, telling them what to do, getting their live opinions and telling them the right things. Azer going to be up top here, taking another off angle. We're going to see this all night. Just floated through the wall. I think that is a maybe perhaps a signal issue as 3 oranges go down. Lunar, Azer, Saint.
Yeah, and Speedglass close too, and something's going on here.
I would reckon it might be a tech pause related to someone disconnecting, because that was...
Shaq called a timeout.
Shaq called a timeout, if you will. It's a fair point.
Yeah, so something happened, and yeah, we're gonna
someone like that on our side.
Yeah, so let's talk about what we saw at the beginning of that match. There wasn't much going on.
No, it was a lot of stalling. It's how Kings Row works.
Mm-hmm.
That defensive team you saw playing around that, like, let's draw a map for you, like that square. You had Mauga up here. You had you had the Syracuse side down there, and it's kind of just peeking and trying to get your DPS and trying to buy your DPS time as the 2 tanks distract each other, and the supports are both taking off angles behind those tanks, and then the DPS do stuff elsewhere, and you hope your DPS win that fight because it's kind of the catalyst. That's your fuel in the engine for every push.
Yeah, and we saw SU support try and take an off angle and kind of got exploded. We're back, though.
Exploded, if you will. As Karma going to get speed glasses. Max going to get Sojourn. It's going to be a balance in the right direction for the Orange, as Sojourn has a bit of a longer walk back to point. Going to be using all trails for that.
Orisa back in the main area. The Orange get their tank back, but Karma's playing really well for SU so far. That's the main thing I'm seeing. Karma is oppressive.
Mauga coming out with a counter to Orisa ult. Mauga going to go down to the ante, but 4 defenders lost, or 4 offenders lost for the Orange, and Lunar going to go down as the final one. A team kill. Got the Mauga, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Went into the blender there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think a 1 to 5 trade-off is not exactly what you're hoping for if you're SU there.
Better than 0 to 5.
It absolutely it is, and hopefully we'll see them be able to swing that momentum back in their other direction, I suppose.
Absolutely, and Speedglass is going to be the catalyst of it. They are boosted with the Honest Nano. Hey, going to get 1, going to get 2, going for 1 more in that corner. Orisa the switch now, trying to get anything they can. It's the counter Orisa, the Echo Orisa rather, on the ult. Lunar and Azer get 1 themselves, and Syracuse is going to win this push. Very good job from the Orange here. Yeah,
Sojourn, especially Speed, played some great Overwatch there, just absolutely destroying the tank for USC. Really great stuff so far, and now SU has a chance to escort the payload.
See how well they can do that. Lunar are going to be the catalyst of the offense, like we mentioned here. Tank, obviously how that role works. It's going to be the only heavy hitter you got. They're going to take sponge, take damage, and the Orange have had a great work with Lucas, who's been on that Orisa all night. And I think might stay there. It's been working very well. Orisa very good right now, especially when it's in Lunar's hands, who goes down to Triple Z on that right side, rather on that choke point side. These are going to go up top. Not going to use the ult here. Shouldn't use the ult here. Going to wait for Lunar to get back, I believe.
Absolutely going to be difficult to get through this choke point. This is going to be one of the harder points for SU to contest all night. They're going to have to build up some ult charge and pop some coordinated ults if they want to take this one.
Absolutely, and speed glasses Again, it's that kind of what I illustriously displayed to you through my map on that right side. It's going to be Mauga pushing forward into the other team entirely because it's Echo, actually. LCI goes down. It's the Echo ult that came out. Now I realize that as LCI going to get Echo after that ult came through. Got a lot of space, but wasn't able to get any eliminations as Azer goes down with that Echo. Speed Glasses going to go down to Juno, and again, it's the Orange pushing forward using an ult, but maybe not enough ults together as a team. Very tough situation.
Absolutely, but you got 4 Orange who are absolutely close. Now, 4 Orange who have their ults, now would be the time to make a coordinated push on point. Get a couple ult pops in a row, hopefully win this team fight and continue the push forward.
Absolutely. Speed Glasses moving forward, has that ult going. Lunar going to get one with theirs. Trapped in the circle is Mauga, but Lunar going to put them away. Still stuck as they're locked in the room with Echo, but Echo is locked in the room with the Orange. Down goes Z, and they're going to push them back, get a team fight, and bang, one more for Speed Glasses. What a stagger.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be tough for USC to recover. The payload moving pretty quickly now for the Orange, and they're just going to be able to really keep USC at bay for a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to allow you to push the payload forward as they recollect their defenses. And everybody takes a deep breath until Mauga comes back. And nobody's taking a deep breath anymore because there's 500 rounds per minute flying in your direction. Z going to get Speed Glasses. Lunar got LCI, though. Loss of both soldiers on both sides. Mauga pushing forward. They're nanoed. Forward, antied. Goes down to Azer. Azer with the dash now on Genji. You saw him on Tracer earlier. Is nanoed as they push forward. And it's going to go off point. Gonna just run away. USC will.
Yeah, we were talking about the effectiveness of Karma earlier in the matchup, how effective it was at that beginning area, and unfortunately, Karma's been kind of shut down since then.
And you're seeing now, switching into Zarya on the top left side of your screen, going to be a bit of an interesting situation here. We're struggling to take space, and I'm not sure if a very similar kind of character is going to help them. It is going to give them some shield. Zarya does output a massive amount of targeted damage, as Z's going to get Azer up top. Speed Glasses trying to get rid of Z, but it's just kind of getting... They're being looked at in the Overwatch term. Obviously, is the other team is looking at you and shooting at you, so you can't do what you want to do. And the less they look at you, the more easier is DPS to go on and offing.
Yeah, absolutely, and Orisa has a lot of favorable matchups, but Zarya is not one of them. Zarya is a pretty good counter to Orisa as the lead tank for SU. Speaking of Orisa, gets the ult charge, gonna wait to pop it, which I think is a good decision, and using that shield again, and here comes the ult.
It's not going to do much, but they're just going to take space. Karma gets Lunar in that process. Here's the blade from Azer, not going to, almost falls off the edge. Not going to get much of anything there, has to back off. Really good counter from the Trojan side there. We might be seeing a change, yes we will. Mauga, who's a bit more favorable, not much, to Orisa. Z and LCI have the ult. It's about tied in ult, but Syracuse still struggling. A minute to go. We've seen them have late game heroics on Kings Row. And the UK is familiar with the Orange heroics, to be real with you.
They really enjoy the our friends over the Atlantic. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Entirely reasonable. It is the UK. Biscuits and gravy is what they're trying to make here as Lunar pushes forward. LCI going to get Azer, win that matchup between the two Sojourns. And Lunar is just locked in a corner and somehow lives that by a miracle. Just going to sponge so much damage. Not going to go down, but Saint's going to go down in that process, trying to keep Mauga healed. They're going to jump back 30 seconds, collect what they have. There's no more ults, so it's just sort of go forward as, wow, that is unfortunate for Speed Glasses, who got caught in that left side tunnel and unfortunately met the wrath of Echoes. 15 seconds here. They need to push about 4 or 5 seconds ago, feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that loss of Speed Glasses really felt like a bit of a dagger for SU. You know, just not what you want to see. Getting trapped like that, really unfortunate. And they're going to try and make a push now. Going to force it into overtime and contest point.
Zarya boosted on that left side of the payload. And the Orange are going to use that as a blocker, and it works out pretty well. Bob going to come in, get 2, but Speed Glasses goes down in the process. Karma the only one remaining for that USC side. On point, has to back off there. Karma behind the entire team, soloed away from that team. They're going to keep it as long as they can that way. Zarya dies, she gets to go back to her team. So they're kind of just leaving her over on that left side, and late game heroics coming in here. They're about 15, some amount of meters away from the capture point. Zarya on that left side, gonna go down almost. Gets healed right at the last moment. Anti-Diz and Lunar pushing forward. Lunar gonna get Karma, throws the ult down. Locked in the room with Lunar, they go down. But it's gonna give the Orange some more time. Brig nearly going down, and the ult does go down. Ace of the last hope for the Orange. Last on site, pushing forward. Gonna nearly get Sojourn, jumping around. Can't do much of anything else. Yeah, I get speed glasses, but the Orange have it 0.39 meters away. In defending, they will. They can't get there in time, and the Trojans can do nothing but watch. It's 3-0. They get it in overtime.
A buzzer beater. Incredible heroics managing to stay on point from Genji there. Quite frankly, ridiculous. Just great stuff for the Orange. Really positive results from the first 2 rounds we've seen so far.
You want to see that if you're an Orange fan. Again, it feels like every time we go on a Kings Row, the Orange have an overtime push, and they win the overtime push by an absurd margin. And 0.39 meters, Azer just sitting there on the point with the Genji blade, like, and it was simple like that. They just walked in, they didn't run on point, and D.Va did not get the space when they had boost. I'm not sure why D.Va was not on point at that point. You could see her kind of off to the left for a while, so is what it is. Call it a C9. I'm not sure it was that egregious, but USC not able to get back on point. Wasn't expecting the Sojourn to die where they did. And it's 3-0 Orange in a good position, a better position, if you will, than you were about, 20 seconds before the half ended.
Absolutely, and I think the most important thing there was the separation. Karma got completely separated from the rest of the USC team. That was really big because you don't even get the reprieve of getting to respawn. You are just trapped behind enemy lines. You are never coming back. You can't respawn, so you're just stuck back there, unable to affect the team fight. And when you're the only tank, I mean, that's just a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah, it's bread and butter for the Orange there, and it was a good situation, like you just mentioned. And Azer chilling, just a chill guy behind that left side pillar there. All emoting. I guess they're all. We're in third person. That's why it looks like that. Whoopsies. Back to that Ash perspective, we saw the off angles the Orange are taking. LCI going to get speed glasses on that off angle. And that's the problem with them looking at you. You immediately get looked at, and you can just be obliterated in a matter of seconds if the other team is not bringing attention their way, not forcing the attention of USC, which is the idea of off angles.
Absolutely, and now we're going to see Lunar once again needing to push forward. The USC has the point pretty much controlled at this point. It's going to be tough for SU to make a push back onto point and try and chokehold them here, but it doesn't matter. Here comes Orisa really getting back on point. Incredible stuff. We've talked so much about the strength of this Orisa team.
If they're going to do it, they're going to do it now. And I guess Cast or Curse, like, in the positive direction if you're an Orange fan. Here, Saint going to get Karma, the tank goes down, and that's going to be the end of that Trojan push. They get 2/3 of the objective, demonstrating dominance, but going to have to wait like the Orange did. Bit of a struggle initially for the Orange on this side. USC nearly got it in about 2 minutes earlier than the Orange did.
Yeah, great team fight win. Now we're going to see Genji using that deflect. And Orisa, once again, just trying to maintain space on the point. And they have switched now back to their original tank, Karma has at least.
Azer on the flank, going to try and draw that Mauga away from that other side, and it's going to be really good to keep them on that left side, but Azer not going to be able to get a pick, and Mauga able to return to the team. Have that boost there. Ace goes down, or rather, Ace gets speed glasses with that boop. Z gets Saint. Max going to get a consolation pick. The ult, not sure if that's the right timing. It's going to buy time at the very least, because there's nobody there to support Lunar as they go down as the final Orange before the payload falls.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of an ult waste. You know they're about to take the payload. You know how low you are. You know there are 5 of them, and like none of your teammates. It feels like a bit of a waste of it all.
It is what it is, but you are giving them the ult advantage there, and that's the toughest part about that. It's about 4 to almost 5 to 1. So we'll have to see how that plays out, as the ults have been, I guess, less important for the Orange. They've been winning without those ults, and they've done good in the middle game between ults. They've been beating USC like that, but USC, great ult usage, heavily ults almost all of the time. Seems to get them better than the Orange, just in the sense of placement and usage. They're going to wait to use it at the right time, but Lunar on that defensive end holding strong against Mauga.
Yeah, Lunar holding so strong, and we saw speed glasses with that nice ult angle before, building up really quick ult charge.
Again, Mauga pushing forward, going to get some more space, just doing everything for USC, as they're kind of stuck on the attention. Can't get anyone in the backline for the Orange. Their backline goes away. Triple Z and LCI get Sojourn, and Max goes down. That Lucio. Azer goes down, has Blade now at least. 2 ults on the DPS side for the Orange, but the team fight lost 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and they are nearing the second objective.
Yeah, and you're going to watch Saint just push all the way back, because It was a complete wipe, except for Saint, and you don't want to stagger yourself even more than you already have if you're SU there.
It's back to what you know, and Lunar going to be Amalga, but other than that, it's pretty similar team comp to what we saw at the beginning of the game. Ana now is what Saint is playing. Saw the loss of Kiriko in terms of bans, so it's a bit tough for the Orange because their strategy revolves around Kiriko a lot of the time, but they've been really good at learning how to play without Kiriko. Sojourn ult, the right click going to be live or die right now for the Orange, but the Lucio ult going to save a bunch on that on that USC side. LCI going to go down, or rather get maxed with that ult. Here comes Blade, trying to deal with Lucio is Azer. Can't do much, if anything, with that Blade though, other than take a little bit of space. LCI gets Lunar, tank goes down for the Orange, and trying to get a constellation pick, but Azer going to have to back off before they can do much of anything.
Yeah, and SU's going to need another King's Row late game heroic here if they're going to not send this thing to an extra round.
I wouldn't call it late game. There's 4 defenders or 5 on the point with 4 minutes left. So we're going to have to put a strong defense up now and not end ever with that strong defense. It feels like LCI going to get Lunar. The loss of a tank going to get the point anyway. Azer seemed like they were on. I think it was just over.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly close there. SU unable to defend in any sense of the word. By late game, I meant, of course, the payload's almost been pushed, but SU just really couldn't do anything there. It's interesting because they needed some heroics to get to where they were, and USC just rolled over them.
Huge advantage right now for the Trojans. If you look at the top of your screen, once we go back, it'll be 3 minutes and 51 seconds to 0 seconds, which is equivalent to, I believe, through 4 minutes and 51. Both teams get added a full minute.
I believe both teams get a full minute back.
And so it's about, 4 minutes, 50 seconds versus, 0. Or maybe 0 gets added to 1. I might be thinking Marvel Rivals, both teams get 1. I think the team at 0 gets a full minute.
Yeah, and SU needs to hold strong here. SU needs to play far better defense than they did in that first round if they don't want to see a loss here.
Yeah, and it's going to be changing it. We saw how close they've been against these teams that they've played. Same kind of situations. USC is I believe USC is yet to take a round off an opponent they won or lost on. It was either 3-0 or 0-3. Let me check that. Yeah, they have not taken a game off an opponent and lost since week 4 of last semester. So it's been rolls for USC. This is not too common unless in losses. So we'll have to see how it plays out if they do end up winning this match. Syracuse. It'll be interesting to see how they play another contested matchup against a team that I think they were pretty confident that they could beat, but have shown some, I guess, not some resentment, but some big fight on their side.
Some resolve, I think, for USC this game. And yeah, those stats, they're interesting, but at the end of the day, anything can happen. They're rather arbitrary, and it should be interesting to see what USC can accomplish.
That's a big point. It's all on paper. It seems one way, seems another, but you don't play the game on paper. And that's going to be the shield coming out for Orisa that we've seen or talked about rather earlier. Azer going to get Z in the process, catalyst of their offense, but forcing them to look up. The Orange are not really able to get rid of the Malga because just how good USC's been up top, forcing the attention away from their healers, forcing their attention onto the Syracuse healers rather than the USC healers getting caught in any way, shape, or form, as Karma going to get speed glasses. Going to be another loss for the Orange in that DPS range. Not going to be great again.
Yeah, going to have to survive here for a couple seconds without a DPS. Speedglass is going to get back as quick as possible, but it's not looking amazing.
Speedglasses should have that double slide ability by this point. Karma pushing forward with the help of Juno. Going to get a lot faster. Here's a big ult from Orisa. Should keep them off site, but the shield, unfortunately, going to help them out. Ace gets Azer, but Saint able to get one. Lunar able to get one more, powered by the Ana ult. Forward, they're not going to win in terms of eliminations, but they are going to keep point.
Yeah, Lucio has that ult in store just in case the Orange need an extra defensive reinforcement, that will allow them to keep point for another couple seconds, because all you're doing right now is you're burning time.
Absolutely. The stalwart defense we've seen so far is going to be key in giving yourself more time. You want to at least bring it to overtime here, because that's what you're going to have to do. Bring it at least within a minute before they capture point. Just want to get as much time as you possibly can, or, just win the objective. That'd be the ideal situation here if you are the Orange. Orisa in that corner, focal point of the offense. Speedglasses almost has ult, going to back up. Malga does as well. Speedglasses not able to conquer any form of opportunity in that. Grabbing some heals, jumping back to the team. Syracuse gets more space once again, and they're on the advantage side, has vaults. Should see some from both sides, though, come out very, very quickly. We saw the Echo ult get not much of any value. You heard it, didn't see much more, but here's another ult from Speed Glasses. Forward, having a lot of places to look, can't direct the attention in one spot, as their Sojourn ult as well. Back that left side, can't do much of anything, no value from much of any ult, as the tank goes down on both sides. Rather, no, Saint, Speed Glasses, and Max go down. Lunar then finally at the end goes down. Azer still has an opportunity to contest somewhat, almost contested somewhat. That's going to be USC winning game 1.
Yeah, full team wipe for the Orange there to give USC the win. Unfortunate. And now things are knotted up, 1-1. And that is something that Syracuse has done a lot this season, is they drop games even when they win or lose. But it's not something USC is too familiar with.
You know, not playing a 3-0 or an 0-3 is important for a team once you go to LAN. You're going to see more fight out of this Orange team. They've been in the situation before. USC, not so much. So we'll have to see how that goes. USC is yet to win a game by any score other than 3-0 throughout this entire season, fall and spring. Spring might be the only one that matters for seeding. We'll have to see. That's not set in stone. Still bound to change. But lots of game to go for both of these teams and lots of time to go till Vegas. So obviously both of these teams are going to go head down to the Southwest in the Sin City, going to compete there no matter what. And we'll have to see just how it shakes out in terms of the rest of this game, how it's going to go for everybody else. But Jack, if you're Ryan Blankenhorn, known Rocket League caster Ryan Blankenhorn, what do you tell your team?
Well, the first thing I would tell my team is, listen, the last time we played these guys in the fall, we won 3-1. And I think that's really interesting because that's one of 2 games where USC has actually dropped a game or has actually won a game and still lost. So I think you say, you know, we've been in this position before. We'd like to replicate what happened in the fall. Let's go out there. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, go out there, wreck them the last 2 games like it happened. 1-1 was the score in that game. We streamed it live, I believe. I think I was on it. I would know. I should know. But 2 games in a row for the Orange last time. It's going to be push here. No, it's not. I lied to you. It's going to be the multiple objectives.
Yeah, the one where you gotta get multiple. You gotta
I
go
don't
all
know.
over
It's
the
not
map.
ringing a bell right now, but you're going between different objectives. It's going to be interesting. We saw the Orange lose a game basically because of this map going so poorly, but beat them last time here. See if they can do it on the other side. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, if you're going to go push, obviously you're not going to choose whether it's push or not. But those 2 rounds are what the Orange are going to face. They've done very well in them. They've done very bad in them, depending on the team that they play and the comps that they play. So it's all about learning. I guess if you're the Orange in the last 3 weeks, definitely had some time to learn. Played I think 6 or 7 overall games. Made it out of group stage. So they got to play that tournament this weekend. Friday was the group stage. Saturday was that tournament. They got so much experience. Almost brought a win in Game 5 against Oakland. That Michigan Oakland, by the way, the Grizzlies. Jack Golke reference if anybody is a fan of March. This is March, so we're starting.
This is a form of March Madness, if you want to think about it like that.
If you want to think about that, and April Madness in Vegas right after March Madness, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Make sure you tune into that. Put that on the calendars. It's the weekend of April 4th, my birthday. Not happy birthday to me because that's 2 months away. 1 month away.
Happy birthday to M3, though.
Happy birthday to M3 Max. Big Lucio. Big 20.
Big 20. Double digits.
Double digits.
Yeah, but we're going to hop into this flashpoint. We're going to hop into this flashpoint match now, and it should be really interesting because, as you said earlier, the Orange have struggled sometimes with this, and they have been very successful. But I think this 3rd game is a big breaking point, especially in terms of momentum for both teams.
We're going to be on Coliseum, so push, obviously, if you are familiar with Overwatch. This is an interesting map. It's a U-turn of a shape. You're going in. This is the objective in the middle right here. You're going out. The 2 spawns right here. Thank you for illustrating my map. Everybody at home, draw on your screen with a Sharpie to remember that. Don't do that, please.
Ruin your devices. Carson Cass told you to.
No, don't do that. Don't put my name on that either. Either way, Coliseum, tough map, has a lot of off angles, but they're much more difficult. And the Orange play, obviously, like that. It's how you play the game with the dive comp specifically. The Orange haven't been doing dive, a lot more of a brawl concept. So we'll have to see how they play this one. But bans are going to come through. It'll depend. It'll depend on the bans. No Kiriko is going to change how they play entirely.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping because of how prolific these off angles are, I want to see a hero who operates so well within those off angles, so well just flanking. I want to see Tracer again. I was so impressed with the play of the Tracer in the first matchup. Really changed the last couple games that SU won. that's who I'd like to see come out at some point here for the Orange.
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I think Genji has been very, very good for Azer in these kind of situations. We saw it last time. Won and lost on that Genji blade, on that Dragon Blade form from Genji. Azer has been excellent with it. Not as much today. I would like to see Genji, but I do understand that Genji did not work last time. Genji was not great last time. They countered that ult. They had a great job countering Genji and every other aspect. Tracer probably is the smart pick to play here, but I think you would get more value out of Genji if, for some reason, you have a better opportunity. But, I mean, Tracer, if I'm Brian Blankenhorn, I'm probably going, hey, bud, Tracer time.
Yeah, honestly, and once again, we've talked about it depends on the bans. And we're going to have to see because it really did take a hit that Saint was not able to play Kiriko. I think that was really tough for the Orange. I think that had a huge effect on the way that the last game went. We saw they appeared a lot more squishy throughout the game. They weren't able to hold points as well, and I think it's partially due to that character loss.
Yeah, and it comes from you were pressuring the healers a lot, and there's a lot less pressure on a Kiriko to actually be able to aim your healing,
Right?
Because it kind of is like, oh, I'm going to turn left now and heal your guy that's kind of close to where you shot it, whatever.
Cloak
Good
and
enough.
dagger style.
Cloak and dagger style. Yes, that's fair. I don't think it was the right community. It's like 50-50.
Yeah.
They either you love it or hate it, but either way. It's a homing thing, but obviously on Ana, when you have a lot of pressure, you're going to miss more shots. You're going to heal your team less. And Kiriko, one of the best healers in the game, and if you can play without it, you're going to be at an advantage when you ban a Kiriko against a team that can't. So the Orange need to learn that quickly, or you're going to go to Vegas, get Kiriko banned, and you're going to go out. No double elimination in the Overwatch or Valorant scene. So,
absolutely, that seems to be what one of the counters to this SU squad is right now, because, I mean, we've talked about it, Saint, one of the most talented players on this squad.
they just banned Tracer.
Oh, okay. So,
Genji does.
Genji it is. And you know what? That kind of makes me feel a little right, because I said Tracer would be a good pick, and they thought it was such a good pick that they banned it.
That's a fair point. We banned Juno on our side because their Juno was very, very good. ADDL, excellent, switched off the Kiriko on that Kiriko ban. But we're going to see Kiriko for the Orange this time. Saint will be back on that character that they have been so strong with. And, one thing you don't see a lot is tank bans, and I think there's a element to that. That's kind of shows you how important a tank is, because not having that flexibility is it can doom a team, and you don't want to ban a tank that the other team plays if there's any overlap. Like, if our tank cannot play Orisa and we are playing a top 500 Orisa, I'm going to ban Orisa 500 times in a row because that makes them uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So it's different when you have two tanks that have to play similar tanks and no similar tanks have to do that because they're countering one another. They're playing a meta in sense of this guy picked this, so I have to pick this. It's a lot of counter picks for tanks, and you don't want to lose that flexibility. DPS, it's obviously a bit more flexible. If you're a DPS player and you're playing only one character, typically you're not going to make a lot of you're not going to be in these kind of scenes. You don't have the flexibility you need, especially with bans, but got to see here. What do you think we're going to see from the Orange?
I think that first of all, I think that Karma has been the most effective player for USC so far. I think, aside from Z has had moments, and also Z has had some poor moments. I think that Karma has been the most consistently impressive player for USC, and so I think that making Karma uncomfortable, because we saw it in Game 3 of the first matchup, that when Karma was forced off of their character, things got uncomfortable for USC.
I think it partly got uncomfortable because Torbjorn is
Say it.
not applicable to most situations, especially
That's
on
kind.
I'm working on it. Especially on a lot of these kind of maps where you're pushing. I mean, you just put the turret off to the left, and it's completely different than Echo, where you are that turret. You are making the distraction. Torb just died every time it came into a team fight, and was the first one to die a lot of the time. And that Echo has been really, really good. I'm the Orange. I would have banned Echo.
That's really, really valid. I think that's a good take, but I think that the big key for the Orange here is going to be Kiriko. I think that is going to really shift the game back in the Orange's favor, despite the USC ban.
We may see a more traditional dive comp with Winston. How's Winston? Shout out Lucas's dad. They asked me to do that. That's a very personal joke to them. Or not joke, personal thing to them in the sense of inside their minds and their team minds. Very big shout out to Lucas's dad. Love the support from the parents on the esports side. But might see more traditional dive comp. Going to see Winston maybe see a Kiriko and a Lucio, and we may see parts of that, which is what they've been doing all night. Have that Lucio almost always, have the Kiriko when they can, and you're going to see just like that a mix of it. It's going to be Sojourn, Echo, and Mauga for the other side, and Ram, Sojourn, Ash, Kiriko, and Lucio, same supports, but a lot different on the other side other than Sojourn.
Absolutely, and no Winston, which I'm a little sad about. I love the monkey. I'm a big fan of Winston, just in terms of like that's just a personal thing for me, is I love Winston. We're gonna start to engage now, though, on the point. And we're going to see, you know, poking back and forth, and a great hit there. Z already taken out for SU.
Azer with the snipe on 3Z goes down instantaneously as Lucio going to have to back off. Azer forcing more pressure, this time on the Sojourn instead of Speed Glasses, who is now on Ash. Going to be interesting to see them switch. And not too much Sojourn play from Azer, but obviously something they know something we don't, because Azer, very good start. Lunar pushing forward, that Ram helping them get a ton of space. Mauga's kind of been labeled irrelevant with how the other team is forcing to go the other way.
Yeah, really excited to see the play from Ramatra for SU. Obviously, it's different than what I enjoy with Orisa, but I think that Ramatra is also a really interesting character, able to do a lot. Those two different forms, really excited to see.
Credit where credit's due. There is a lot of fun, interesting characters in the game that they have added over time that have added just so much to the team fight mechanics and added different metas. Is Triple Z going to get Speed Glasses? Orange faltering as Lunar goes down that Ram that we talked about earlier. Lucio and Saint going down together as Mauga essentially turns them into a fine panini press.
Yeah, Mauga was quite frankly dominant, and this Mauga, I mean, listen, I've talked a lot about this Mauga, but this Mauga's been really incredible so far.
You know what got turned into panini press too?
The stream.
The stream. Because, not the stream.
Well, no, but the current game.
The stream is great.
We're still here.
We're still here. You're here, I'm here, it's lovely. And
I don't want to be panini pressed.
You might be. Say things like that. Stream is great.
Oh, I mean, the stream is fantastic. I would never diss.
But the pause is now ending. I believe somebody just had to do something really quick. I don't know. Either way, back to gameplay. Forward now is Lunar, who's going to wait for some space, wait for that team around there as they enter the larger form of Ram. Pushing forward. Azer on that left side. We see Azer on these off angles with all these characters. Has been a little bit better in that sense, and maybe that's why they switched to Sojourn. Saint going to push forward. Going to get one in the form of Ace. Z goes down. Same with Azer getting LCIE, winning that battle as ADDL rather goes down. And again, it's just a dominant push from the Orange. Team fight one as Mauga not able to help them. Still stuck on the other end.
Yeah, and this has been a back and forth affair so far. Team fights won for both sides, and that robot just really being forced to do a lot of cardio.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to feel for the robot there. I hate cardio as a former athlete myself and a former lineman at that. Mauga pushing forward, moving that line forward, that battlefield in that left side, but Bob can be a very good space grabber for the Orange. Moving forward is Azer as well, ulting, getting huge chunks of damage out. Maybe didn't get anybody, but forced a Lucio ult out after that ult came through. Really good stuff from the Orange, basically forcing an ult when they can't really push. They're not in the position to.
Yeah, giving yourself that ult advantage is really important. Forcing that ult to come out.
Max with that ult, again, going to basically do the same thing that they just did, force the Orange in the advantage. They're matching the Ram with the Echo ult. Karma going to get Max, Lunar, and Z as well, both ulting on Ramatra. Can you believe it? Unlimited damage anywhere you go. In that corner, stuck, but no one to help Lunar as LCIE going to get them.
Yeah, and a huge team wipe there for SU. SU getting team wiped is huge, should I say. And they're just going to get another opportunity to push the robot back, but giving a lot of space, USC now.
Yeah, Ram basically just like makes a Fortnite storm around them, and it creates a very dangerous situation for everybody involved. You can't see it on stream. Jack is looking at me disappointedly, rightfully so.
Fortnite storm. Yeah, that was an interesting. You know, I think it's a valid take at the end of the day.
If you don't know what Ram does, that's a very good comparison.
Absolutely.
I would think. Azer down in that lower half. Again, just Mauga has been a massive problem for the Orange. Cannot get rid of them because the healers have stayed alive in every sense of the word. But the ult's going to help the Orange out as Saint going to bring out that Kitsune rush, basically forcing space as instead of fighting it, they're going to back off. Going to give the Orange that robot for some cardio as they are in the lead. Keep that in mind. Up top, the gray is where the Orange need to get. Kitsune rush going to force more space out from that other side. Lunar going to back up, do the same thing that the other USC side just did.
Yeah, absolutely, and a really smart retreat there from USC, going back to exactly where the robot had to get to, knowing that SU would have to turn the corner, kind of creating their own choke point and forcing SU into really getting poked quite a bit and having to retreat.
Absolutely, LCIE going to get max. That's a tough support loss. Azer going down, same with Saint. Team fight win for the Trojans, who are just excellent. But a consolation pick in the form of Z, as they, Speedglasses tries and runs away, but unfortunately meets their end. Karma.
Yeah, unsuccessful kite there, and puts SU even more staggered than they were before.
I mean, poetic when you get ended by Karma, to be honest with you. I like that username. One of the better usernames I've seen in a long time. Love saying it. Gotta love creative usernames. You see a lot of them that are just not fun, but gotta like it here. Azer gets ace, trying to go for 5 more. Karma gonna punch Saint away, but Karma gonna go down in the form of Azer's right alt. Moving forward, has that right click, nearly goes down, and 1 more. That's 4K for the Orange as Lunar gets 1 more USC defender.
And Lunar, worth noting, back on Orisa, which means I'm happy. I'm a happy camper, and a great play so far there. And Lucio still has ult to pop, so SU still has a defensive ult.
One thing I think you may have forgot to mention that you were an Orisa main.
I was.
Yes, that's why Jack loves Orisa. 10 whole hours on Orisa a day.
Enough.
A day.
A day.
A day.
Let's see, now you make it sound like I don't go outside. Okay, that was not a nice... So for those of you who can't see, Carson just gave me a not nice look.
Jack does go outside, contrary to popular belief, as the Orange are still stuck inside. Haven't gotten out of this interior area of Coliseum. Trapped in with Mauga is Orisa. It's a one-on-one, but they're going to bring the Orange inside of that force field. Is Bob going to help get some more space, force them all back, force out a Lucio ult as they matched Kitsune rushes. For the other side, Z going to had that Echo ult, didn't get much of any value out of it, went down. LCIE, though, on that Sojourn ult, going to get 1 more at least. Goes down to Lunar in the process. Orange pushing forward. Orange going to get 2. Orange going to win that team fight, essentially, as Mauga, the last one remaining. Just going to push it, and Azer's going to push it while they quote-unquote deal with Mauga. I think Mauga's just going to run away.
Yeah, Mauga's going to have to run back, and we've talked about this before with Mauga. In the last game, Mauga trapped behind enemy lines, separated completely from the team, needs to get out of there, and really difficult. But the Orange still have some pushing to do if they want to take this win.
Mauga has such a huge health pool. It's like fighting a healthy young Rhino every single time. Just unbelievable. Just cannot die, it feels like, on that other end. Karma pushing forward again, and just kind of the will of the Orange when they've got their team, or will of the USC Trojans when they've got that team behind them.
Absolutely, and I think it's worth noting that Mauga having this seemingly unlimited pool of health is not all down to Mauga. It's also down to excellent support play from USC.
Yeah, that's very big, but the Mauga knows when they're out of health, too. They know when they need those supports, and that's one of the biggest things. Karma has got that sensibility, got that game sense, and a good tank can change the way any team can run, and you're seeing that with Lunar here. Gets 1, 2, as just a wipe of support from the Orange, instantaneously loses the push for USC. And you didn't hear much of anything because USC went down so quickly there. Both supports died, and I guess the Orange just cleaned house real quick.
Absolutely, and the Orange still managing to be pretty even on ult, so they are really going to have an opportunity now to try and get another final push and get things back even. But once again, the Mauga just making his own choke point and making things incredibly difficult for SU.
Talk about that front line, and Mauga makes it. Going to lock them in with them. An anti would be great here, but you don't have any Ana. That's what you saw last time, how they deal with it, but the Orange are going to do it differently this time. Azer going to be the solution to that problem. A triple with that ult.
Yeah, the Azer laser, as I think I'm going to start calling it, was just absolutely incredible there.
I'm floored. I can't believe that was
I've never
so
heard
awesome.
you speechless.
I am. That was really good. That was really good. Azer with the triple kill, earning the respect of Jack Elliott, folks. Not easy to do that. Forward, Lunar pushing from that backside, trying to make them pay their taxes on that landlord as they get forced towards into the building. Excuse me. Sorry. Lunar forward. Stuck under the building now with that team in Mauga, pushing space forward. It's 2 tanks with that Echo, but the ult's going to come out here, and that Echo ult. Ace goes down. Pushing forward is Lunar now with the spear. Speedglasses gets LCIE. Moving forward is the Orange after Karma goes down. And again, those pushes have been lethal. The Orange take the lead, their first lead of the game.
Yeah, that crit hit there from Speedglasses was really impressive to take down the Mauga. Seems like the only way you're going to be able to take down the Mauga, reduce that massive health pool.
We're going to see some ult usage here from both sides. The side that can ult, actually. You have a minute remaining, and the Orange finally have their first lead, trying to carve out as much as they can as they take a lead by about 30 meters almost here. 10 minutes of gameplay. We're in the final 40 seconds. Lunar dropping down, needs to buy more time, needs some support as Saint goes down with them. Kitsune Rush earned from Saint. 2 support ults. Wouldn't be surprised if one comes here, but it's going to be both. Saint forward through that lower half tunnel, pushing forward along with the rest of the Orange team, buying as much time as they possibly can, forcing them to go to overtime at the very worst. Lunar forward with that spear. Gonna almost get one support, rather almost get Mauga as the support nearly goes down. Has the support from their Kiriko, and Saint gonna grab a Kiriko in that end. Very good pick from Saint, at least getting a constellation as they get team killed.
Yeah, the team kill is huge here, but it's a question of, is it too little, too late? SU did a great job meeting them at that choke point and just burning some clock.
We've got overtime off the point, and you are done. What do you got? USC trying to make amends for LA, but Lucas against that hometown team, the LA player going to try and, I guess, thwart that hometown team advantage. Maybe a UCLA guy. Definitely an Orange. Forward is that Mauga ult going to force some into that section, but didn't get anybody. But Lunar going to go down. That's crucial. The loss of a tank. LCIE, a dominant ult so far. Azer pushing back. Maybe going to use the ult here. Has time to wait for that team, though. At least a few moments.
Yeah, and the USC is inching closer and closer now. 76 meters, nobody on point. SU needs to get back or they run the risk of losing this match here.
They've got a little bit of time here. 10 meters remaining. You're going to see the push come right now. Azer has that ult. 4 meters, need to get on right now and hits the wall, and Azer can't get there. The power slide into the pillar, and USC going to take game 3 off of what was just a slight misinput after a very good game for the Orange. Karma leading the charge on that Mauga.
Yeah, SU came all the way from behind. It seemed like they were pretty much zoned out of that game. They couldn't get it through the arch of the Coliseum, and they finally did. They took out the Mauga in an incredibly important situation, and unfortunately, it just wasn't quite enough. A great late game push from USC.
I honestly think we talked about front lines. It was more the Sojourn alt line. Whatever Sojourn had alt, basically just cleaned house. We win that push because our Sojourn is really, really good. Huge credit to LCIE and Azer there. The laser wielders, very, very good. Azer obviously couldn't touch that point right at the end. That is really tough. Really tough.
It is. It's so unfortunate, and just the power slide just slightly missed, and it's, I mean, little changes like that are going to cost you a game in a video game so tight like this.
I mean, pixels. Tough, really tough. We're going to go to Servasa here on that capture point, flash point rather. Echo going to be the first ban from the Orange side. Completely reasonable. We saw how Z has done on Echo, and this is a very large, space-heavy point. Unlike Coliseum, where you kind of are locked into the equivalent of like the underground in London, or what do they call it? The tube.
Yeah, they call it the underground. That was right, and the tube. Both.
They're the same thing. Is the underground the part where you walk down, then you go into the tube when you're in the subway?
I think they're all synonymous for each other. It's really, I mean, British people.
Kings Row.
Kings Row. We're back on King. No, we're not on Kings Row.
We're not on Kings Row.
Do not lie to them.
Don't lie to them. I won't lie to them. But we're on Flashpoint on Servasa, obviously, of course. The wonderful Finger Lakes region and the lake in the background, if you remember that bit. Very, very good point for the Orange. We have seen Azer been kind of the point of this team, the pin. You see him in a lot of big moments, and Servasa has been one of those same things for Azer, who has kind of lived and died by that blade here. And it's going to be really interesting to see just how the Orange can put this together. As again, we'll ask you again, as we do every intermission and tradition in this 2 hours of gameplay. If you're Ryan Blakenhorn, known Rocket League caster and coach, what are you telling him?
And coach, yeah, that's probably the more important thing than Rocket League caster.
I love Rocket League.
I mean, that's understandable. I also love Rocket League. But enough about Rocket League. We're not playing Rocket League. We're playing Overwatch. If I'm Ryan Blankenhorn, I think you just got to shake that last one off. It was a game you lost by mere millimeters, and you basically have to say, like, you can't let that get too far into your heads. Now, I'm not sure what technically I would tell them if I'm Ryan Blankenhorn, but I'm also more of a leader than I am a strategist. So
yeah, Ryan definitely more on that strategist size, and taking some time here as the heat is getting, I think, to this team. Maybe more used to it in USC. A lot warmer temperatures down there than it is up here. quite literally was a blizzard this weekend. So, yeah, we're going to take a break here as well with the heat consuming us. So, thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned. We've got game 4, 2-1 lead for the USC Trojans. Stay tuned, obviously. We'll be back in just a moment with more Power Esports Conference action. Welcome back to the apparently uncomfortably warm confines of upstate New York. Not a thing you hear too often in February, March up here. It's a bit warm. Players took a break. The AC gave out.
The casters took a break too. I think it's important to note.
We did do that. We are translucent ghost beings in your screen, in your device. Anyway, very good play from the Orange. We saw a lot in that push matchup. Just barely lost on a misinput. But I mean, you talk about that. Have to go up to that point. Have to get there. Have to win the rest of the game to get there.
Absolutely, and I think most important to note is something we talked about beforehand, which is the much improved play of USC. This whole second half, they've had much improved play, and this is just a continuation of that for them. They are getting better. They are a program that is getting better, and as is SU, and this is really, really the type matchup that we expected.
This is make or break right here. You're going to this is where pressure is either crumbled or turned to diamonds here. Down 2-1. You won the first game. You know how you won the first game. You make them uncomfortable. The same things have been happening. How do you beat that Mauga now? What are you going to do? What are you going to say to your team now as a team? How are you going to deal with this Mauga? And the answer is be yourself.
That's wow. And what do you mean by that?
I mean playing what they're comfortable with. The Orange have stuck with the Orisa. I mean, obviously be yourself. Like, be happy when you're playing the game.
Right.
If yourself is unhappy while playing Overwatch,
you're not playing Overwatch right.
You're not playing Overwatch right.
That's actually a lie. I get so frustrated in every video game I play.
I don't. I've reached I don't know, tranquility with that.
Nirvana,
something like that.
Yeah. That's nice.
But something's in the way of the Orange winning here, and you have to come as you are. The Orange are extremely well throughout at a dive comp or with Orisa, and you just need to play around that. You need to play around your tanks better. Have to do with the supports. That's the biggest thing. They have not gotten into the back line even remotely. And this is something you don't see too often if it's going to stick. Mercy on the side of USC.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also something that we saw it briefly for SU, but Mauga coming out on the side of the Orange as well.
Going to be very big. We saw Lunar on there earlier. Azer on Reaper, which you don't see too often, but I believe Kiriko was one of the bans, so you're seeing Saint on Brig and Juno matched on both sides. Max, though, on Juno, so no Lucio on the side of the Orange. Switching some things up. Again, being yourself sometimes is changing for the better.
Absolutely. Being yourself is understanding. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. But anyways, we're starting to engage the point now, and things are going to kick off.
Hey, we're Overwatch commentators, not philosophers. Back to the other side. Azer forward, pushing in with that Mauga. Kind of creates a lethal close-range attack for the Orange. And same on the other side. It's kind of matching what you're going to do on both sides. Lunar going to hold M1 until the end of time is kind of how you play Mauga. And taking so much space, being able to deal with a Mauga is a Mauga. You're allowing each other to play together. One of the biggest things here is going to be Lunar supports as well as Karma supports. Going to be all almost up to them.
Absolutely. Trying to fight fire with fire, I think, was the point for SU here. And now USC starting to contest point, and down goes Speed Glasses already.
We're talking about a very close matchup in terms of, I guess, team comps. So it's kind of saying who's better, who is the better team. And that's what you're trying to say, is that we're the better team. Syracuse is going to lose that first team fight there. Down but not out. 7% here. Flashpoint, obviously you lose the point, it's not over. So gotta just try and put it together, get together as a team and make sure supports are supported by the DPS here. Azer gonna move on to Genji instead of Reaper, maybe not the pick. Nearly a mirror comp.
Absolutely, and Lunar, I mean, you saw it beforehand. Lunar got melted on the point. There was a nice stun, and that was just it. But we're going to re-engage now. SU pulling together, and Lunar charging in already.
Yeah, just holding M1 on each other is the two Maugas, and it's quite interesting here. The M1 battle will go to Lunar, nearly turns the other into Swiss cheese. LCIE gonna win that Sojourn one-on-one as down goes Azer. Boop from the ace, very good. And Mauga nearly goes down, but the Orange just cannot complete it. Saint gonna be having to back off. Yeah. Tough.
That was unfortunate, and a nice stagger for USC, killing them all in like enough time between that it's going to be difficult for SU to regroup and going to give USC time to now push up and try and contest them at their spawn.
I wouldn't call it quite a stagger because the Orange got Swiss cheesed in kind of the same 10-second period.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
That's fair. You buy yourself the point basically with that. There's no chance of any section there. I'm not arguing with you, I promise, Jack. You gave me a look. You were disappointed in me.
Never. Did I? I really didn't mean to.
You looked right at me, right in my eyes, deep into my soul, like Jackson was. His piercing eyes from between the glass earlier today. Going to need some more offense here, like those beady piercing eyes to the glass, to get there, and that ult is going to be a big key of it. Almost ults for everybody. Mauga ult comes out, literally gets nobody, unfortunately, for Karma, as the Orange were not pushing at that time.
Yeah, fortunately for SU, I'd say, and SU pretty much has all 5 ults. They're starting to be popped now, though, and really going to try and attack this flashpoint now.
Trojans on the back end of this here, having to just go hightail it out of there. Lucio going to be the only one remaining, just kidding. Ace goes down to Saint. Smashed him with that flying hook thing. I don't remember the name, but the fling. Yes, that's actually what it is. It's the fling. Oh my gosh, I said it.
You got it.
I did it, guys. Anyway, Lunar has that ult here. Could be a game changer. Not many ults used on the side of the Orange. Only one. But the Juno ult going to be there nowhere for either team. So see if we can match some ults here. What you might see. Karma gets stuck in there with Mauga. Azer with the Dragon Blade. Gonna get 1, gonna get 2, 3, bang! That's a triple kill for Azer. 2 in 1 swing. How do you like them apples? ZZZ also gonna do well with Genji and get 1 more, but Azer gonna put it away and just get rid of that Genji and basically win the point for the Orange for now.
That Mauga Azer combo ult is just simply ridiculous. Sorry, Mauga Genji. I'm mixing things up, but the Mauga Genji combo ult is quite frankly disgusting and really put USC to bed there.
Sojourn ult match as well as Saint moving forward with that ult. Gonna basically just give the point to the Orange essentially. It's not gonna be contested just yet. Down goes Mauga though. Lunar gonna get lost on that point. I apologize, I got blue and red confused very quickly because our school's blue and their school's red.
It's really confusing. I have a gripe, but that's my own personal gripe.
It's okay. It's about who's the A team and who's the B team in terms of seeding. But either way, Orange lose that point there. Not a great look in terms of losing a bunch of ults, and you kind of staggered yourself by winning the team fight, unfortunately, and allowed USC to get that point, and you need this point, essentially, right here.
Absolutely. It would be really unfortunate to go from 99 to a loss on the second point already, but you're hoping that SU can get back in the game, push starting now.
Yeah, you kind of hope. Pressure's on in a lot of senses. Very warm in the room. Revenge kill from Speed Glasses onto Z. Triple Z goes down. That's a big loss for that USC side who's lived and died by their DPS. It feels like a lot of these games. LCIE proving that. Down goes the support of Max. More Saint LCIE again go down, but the Orange win that because they got rid of those DPSs very quickly.
Yeah, SU manages to get back on point and finish off what we thought was a foregone conclusion, but seemed to be up in the air for a moment. Heading to the next flashpoint now.
Yeah, cut dry and simple is the best way to put that. Orange need this in every single sense of the world. You're seeing Saint swing, that is healing the team, by the way, if you aren't aware of how Brig works. First time we've seen this character fully out. Juno going to have the ult for the Orange, might use it here, but maybe you're going to wait for that Lucio ult to come out. A lot of matching for support ults here. Juno going to get 1. They have the advantage in terms of support. LCIE going to go down. A great fight for the Orange. They're going to end up winning this. ADDL goes down as well. And the Orange going to win that first team fight again. It's been crucial in Flashpoint, and especially on this map. It can really make or break it, because defending, I think, on some of these points here is a lot easier than offending.
Absolutely. It's a lot easier to break through so many good choke points for defending teams. And SU, by the way, has a huge ult advantage right now. All 5 pretty much have their ults, and it's going to make it real easy to defend this point now.
Yeah, it's about 5-4, and you're about to hear so many Qs get pressed, 2 for each side here, as Saint rather goes down before they can do it. Juno ult going to keep the Orange alive, though, in a major way. Speed Glasses trying to get rid of their Juno, who just ulted as well. A match. Speed Glasses and Azer get Ace and ZZZ back to the right side. Sojourn's 1v1ing in the corner. Speed Glasses going to lose that. Lunar forward, dealing with Karma, has to reload, might lose on that. No, they won't. Forward. They do lose on that because LCIE ult. Azer going to get 1 more in the form of Karma, but the Orange overall lose. It's going to be a one-on-one, though. Sojourn going to take it. Saint almost gets 1, forces them off point. Going to buy some time if they can't win. ZZZ going to get Saint, and at the very least bought them 5% with that ult. Not excellent ult usage, but I understand where it was coming from. Orange had backup, wanted to push that Genji off, thought that they had the time.
And right now what I'm looking at is the Mauga Genji ult combo that was so effective for SU prior, now being held onto by USC. And let's face it, they got a lot of ways to go on this point if USC is going to try and win it. But that is going to be an incredibly powerful ult combo if they want it.
When you use it right, it's a killer there. Saint gonna get ZZZ. Might see that ult come out here for Azar if they didn't die. No, they did. They lived. I apologize. Wrong Genji. Karma, Ace, ADDL go down in the orange. Get the second flashpoint. 1-2. Back to 2-1. Kind of like USC has won these overall rounds, but the orange pushing forward. Need this, obviously, to stay alive. It's the first of 3. Best of 5 if you are unfamiliar. Orange down 2-1.
Absolutely, but Orange up 2-1 in our individual game right now, and that's really, really important. That I've said before. I mean,
really key point. Yeah.
All right, enough.
No. I'm saying like the actual. That was actually good because I said Orange down 2-1 when they're not.
Oh, right.
They're also up 2-1 at the same time. Very confusing stuff going on here. Orange down 2-1 in overall rounds in this singular game. Up 2-1. Lunar gonna get LCIE. That's a big support loss, big damage loss for that other side. But here's going to be ult for ZZZ. Shut down! Lunar going to get them. Very, very good for the Orange. Just shut down the ult, and you're going to win this team fight if you put everything right in the correct manner. Karma kind of stuck there. No supports there for Karma. Pushing forward. They're going to back off now. Going to buy more time, but the Orange are going to get the reinforcements if they can't eliminate anybody on the other side.
And you could tell from the excited shouts of the players outside that that was some high octane play right there.
I feel like I'm watching a car drive onto point. They see it right there. Karma gets hit into an accident, it feels like. With how big Malga's frame is, very hard to avoid that. Lunar going to get one support. Sojourn nearly goes down, but Lunar going to go down in the process as Saint tries to support them. Can't do it in time. Azir has ult, shouldn't use it here. Just getting on point, trying to get as much time as they can. They get down. They know they're going to stagger anyway. And Genji has the momentum to prevent that. Sweetglass is just going to wait. For the Orange, 2 ults.
Yeah, USC going to take point, and the Orange are now going to wait for Azir to get back and wait to make a full push on point, now getting poked again by USC.
Unbelievably locked in if you look at the bottom of your screens. There it goes. Speedglass is pushing forward. This team is trying to get this game win here, and this is going to be a crucial part here. Speedglasses, that ult nearly shut down instantaneously. Buying time, buying space. They need to put off more damage here, but Azir going to try and do just that. Low health, not going to be able to get full use of Dragon Blade. They go down to the Sojourn. Trapped inside the other point is, goodness me, is Brig. Goes down. Juno, as well as Speedglasses, all lose their lives there.
Goodness me is right. That was a complete, almost a complete team wipe. And really impressive stuff. SU now trying to regroup again. I mean, as I've said the last couple times, they need to regroup. And I would say right now what's really important is the poking, and there's an off-angle DPS that is playing really well for USC and just making it really hard for SU to get back and get back to point with full health.
Malga needed to go down there, and they did. Karma loses there on the overtime matchup here. Down goes LCIE, ADDL, Ace as well, and a complete team fight win for the Orange instantaneously, 99-68. They have control of the point now, and the Orange are rolling forward. Need this game to move on, or rather move on to Game 5. And Game 2, obviously, went very well for the Orange. But Game 3, not so much. You see this team slipping and struggling, but they matched it. That Malga they couldn't beat with another Malga, and it's gone very, very well on their side. Pushing in is Malga, going to give so much space for that USC side, but Azir into the back line, going to get rid of a healer. Speedglasses goes down to the other Genji. Max gets one, and ZZZ going to use the blade, get one more. Karma goes down, loss of the tank for that USC side. Crucial, ZZZ left with nobody to defend them, as down goes the Lucio and the Genji once more. Syracuse moves on, and we will see you in Game 5.
We are headed. We predicted exactly what we thought was going to... Excuse me, that was a really stupid sentence. We predicted exactly what we thought would happen, and we were exactly right. This is a barn burner matchup, folks. Things are coming down to the wire.
Give yourself some credit. That was completely fine to say. And Azir just on fire here. Speaking of barn burners, the barn is gone. One swing, or 2 birds, 1 swing, as down goes Ace and LCIE. 2 crucial pieces of that USC lineup down in a second and 1 swing. Really good to see from Azir, who has struggled with that blade usage, especially on Saravasa throughout the game, but have to love to see it if you're an Orange fan. They get to Game 5 and another 2-minute break for the Orange as they're going to go, outside and take a breather. But map and ban still pending. We've got ourselves a game here.
Absolutely. And you have to love to see it, whether you're an Orange fan, not so much if you're a USC fan, but if you're a fan of the game in general, you love to see high octane stuff like that.
Yeah, and quick, talk about high octane. That Mauga charge has been like it actually is like getting in a car accident.
Yeah.
Either way, unusually hot confines. We're going to take a break real quickly. Get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your cookie dough. Either way, stay tuned.
What?
Thank you very much for watching this far, and make sure you stay tuned for a beautiful Game 5 that we're going to see in just a moment. We'll be right back in upstate New York. Welcome back to Upstate New York. We've got Game 5 Power Esports Conference action for you. Better than 3, better than 4. You gotta love Game 5. And Jack, we are on Route 66.
Yeah, it's time to get your kicks, folks. Sorry, excuse me. That's one of my favorite songs about Route 66. I'm excited to see this matchup. I'm excited to see where things go. I'm glad we've gotten to go to Game 5 together, Carson. It's going to be a good time.
I gotta love it when it goes the distance. It's really just that kind of pressure. You see them on stage. These guys were frustrated after Game 3, wanted to win that so bad. But Game 4, you win. You go to Game 5, you've got momentum, and USC, you have to reply. You're not answering here. And Syracuse looking to make that essay known, make that opinion known as they look for higher seeding as they head to Sin City. Could get a 3 or 4 seed. You win tonight, you win tomorrow, or rather not tomorrow, at the end of spring break when you play Nebraska. And the Cornhuskers have something else coming with a big amount of momentum rather than if you lose this, where you might be going into that game a little scared off balance. Nebraska has been a team that Syracuse has struggled with, and a win here against USC, a team that you already 3-0'd, but you know have gotten better, you've gotten better. A win here would feel like an establishment after you're playing a team so equal to you. You want to establish you are better.
Absolutely. This is all about not to say establishing again, but establishing some dominance, and this is one of the main players that we're going to be looking at for SU. That's St. Jackson. Whether they ban Kiriko again or not, he is going to be an important part of this game.
I know Diva got banned, didn't catch the other one, so that's a Route 66 thing, kind of like Widowmaker on that other side. But again, Ace, ADDL have been excellent supports on their side.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other ban, I think, going to be Lucio, is what I'm hearing. So
Frog.
The what?
The Frog.
Oh, yeah. The Frog.
The Frog.
So we could see some Kiriko action tonight, and I hope we do to close things out.
Kiriko Juno might be a thing you see here from that other side in USC. You know they really like that kind of setup. Without a Lucio, I'm not really sure what the Ace is going to play because we haven't seen Ace play like anything other than Lucio so far. Haven't needed to. It's been working out, and I think last game was the only situation where it didn't, and the didn't was the fact that they just got countered. They were having a very hard time surviving because, Syracuse DPS was very, very good and collected, calm, defended their healers when they needed to. Did a great job getting rid of the other supports, and Mauga, I think, is what you're going to see here. 2 Maugas potentially. Maybe too much space between you and the enemy, though, for a Mauga.
Absolutely. And, if you're USC, though, I begin to question whether, SU made the correct decision switching to Mauga in the last matchup. And if you're USC, you begin to worry, can we withstand a Mauga on Mauga fight again like last time? Because we couldn't win that game.
And that's true. They went 3-1. They won a flashpoint there. They might be looking at that first section here, and we see a Winston duel. How's the Winston? Another shout out to Lunar's father. Love the support. And again, this has just been a very interesting game with picks on both sides, and it's going to get a little bit stranger because Route 66, not a common one you see too often. And if you look at the team comps, Jack, run us through some of these characters.
I mean, Winston, as we know, is going to be heavy on the dive, the big gorilla. One of my favorite characters besides Orisa, as we've talked about, but I clearly have an affinity for the tankier characters. We're going to see some diving, though, and I'm really excited to see that.
Gotta love the Winston pick here. Just so much fun. One of the most unique characters in this game. Definitely one of the most unique tanks. And back up top, we'll have to see how they play it. We're going to see the Echo from ZZZ again. Has been very, very good. Azer going to switch on to that Tracer. It really feels like vintage Overwatch, and you got a Winston and a Tracer on Route 66.
Absolutely. Taking us back in time. The only thing now that would do it is Orisa with the perk getting back the shield.
That would be truly peak. Unfortunately, Orisa, not the kind of character you want to play on this map.
Absolutely
with so much room, so much damage fall off to be suffered to, or rather spread to be suffered to for Orisa. Lunar, again, pushing this team forward. And this Winston, very good job here. Their Winston not diving too much, to be honest with you. And that's going to be crucial here. Have to get rid of that back line. And if their Winston isn't jumping like they are here, that's going to be dangerous. But Ash, a great counter to that jump as well.
Yeah, jump came in, and there was nothing doing.
Oh, my goodness. Lunar 2, Azer 2, and goodness, that is just 2 of a kind. Gotta love it when you headed towards Sin City. Chips are in your favor. Karma going to jump off the map, unfortunately.
That was quite unfortunate. However, something that I'm excited about and something that I talked about earlier is we're going to get to see some Tracer. And I'm a big fan of Tracer as a character. I think Tracer plays really interesting, and I love the guns akin to Star-Lord's guns in Marvel Rivals. If
This guy loves Marvel.
You move that way.
This guy loves. If you move that way, this guy loves Marvel. You know what I don't love? Pauses, tech pauses. But we're gonna take one really quickly for a reason.
A reason. We don't know the reason.
We don't know the reason.
But we're going to take one anyways.
Many mysteries of the world. Gotta love them. But unfortunately, one of the biggest things here. We saw that Winston. We saw how that Winston played. Had a double kill along with Tracer. That dive has been crucial for the Orange. This is a team that at its heart is a dive comp. In their heart, they are using Winston to crush their opponents into a panini press. My favorite line, if you haven't told. I really like sandwiches. But here, you have to make the right sandwich here. If you are the Orange, you need to do dive correctly, and this is exactly what they're doing. Matching it is USC, but the Trojans are not playing it correctly. On defense, it's a bit tougher, but that Winston dove twice, immediately countered, and left instantaneously. Kind of left their team out to dry and didn't get any value out of it either.
Absolutely, yeah. The lack of value on the dives is the biggest thing that I'm seeing so far. You're not getting anything going when that happens. You're just wasting cool. You're forcing yourself into cooldowns that you don't need to, and you're making it more difficult for your team. You're effectively zoning your own tank out of the game, and we've talked so much this evening about how important it is for the tank to be present in all, especially in singular tank formats, but in all hero shooter formats.
One of the biggest things that we talk about, I mean, you do say it's needless cooldowns, but you need to use those cooldowns.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. You need to use them correctly is the number one thing. And that's not how you do it as Winston. It's never going to work that way correctly. You're never going to get into that situation, be single out at Ash, get countered instantly, and your team is now left to dry as you're now below on that bottom ground, and it's tough. It's not what you want to deal with. It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for things to come back. The Orange currently have 5 minutes to push things back.
Jackson.
What?
Jackson got a nosebleed. That's our tech pause, by the way.
That's not tech.
Support. Not a tech. Nose tech. Nose skill issue, if you will.
Yeah, the blood vessels and the were just not strong enough.
True Game 5 action on the East Coast. If you will, this is kind of like if you're watching a 24-hour race. It's about 3 a.m. is the equivalent. A long day, midterm week. I have an 8 a.m. midterm tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully well as the Orange need to play for the rest of this game. 5 minutes remaining, as you mentioned, and the Winston's going to be key there. Lunar doing a great job. Again, a little bit more about those cooldowns. What is Lunar doing that the other Winston is not?
Lunar's getting value from the abilities. Lunar's actually getting in there and wreaking havoc, unlike the other Winston. Like, yeah, you have to use the cooldowns, but you have to use them and you have to get things out of them.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I think you're seeing also is Azer. Azer is able to put more pressure on that other side.
Absolutely.
To the point of when you just have one Winston going in there by themselves, you give pressure, but you only give pressure to a certain part of the team. Tracer being there for the Orange side allows them to push more and have more pressure on that other side. The supports have to look. You have to look at them. You force them to turn their attention a certain direction away from your team. And that's the biggest thing there is you're not leaving your team out to drive if everybody's dying. You can't go attack the other team when your support's currently just dealing with a Tracer, dealing with a pulse bomb, dealing with a Winston that is diving your backline and can leave whenever they want.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing about dive on dive play is that you're either trading backlines or you're leaving your own heal, like you're leaving your own supports out to dry.
We'll see more dive as we'll take some time to think about it as well. We'll be right back with more upstate New York Game 5 action. Thank you very much for tuning in, and once again, stay tuned, get your popcorn and your cookie dough apparently. Not sure why I said that last time, but I'm going to roll with it here, and we'll be right back with you momentarily. Welcome back to upstate New York. Hopefully you didn't see what just happened there. The voices on the other side of the wall just really cooked us here in Syracuse. Been cooking all night. Game 5 finally got that comeback down 2-1 forward. And the Orange are, if you have not been tuned in, moving forward. Got that momentum on their side as they head towards Game 5. Well, not towards Game 5. We're quite literally smack dab in the middle of it. Had a tech pause. Our support, St. Jackson, if you know who they are, they unironically got a nosebleed.
Yeah, that's what happens when you are in like the freezing cold for the entire last 3 months, and then all of a sudden you walk into a room and it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, we have a on-site sauna when things go wrong. Sometimes it appears. Always in this booth, you might see my sweaty forehead shine off the reflection of the light. It's almost as bright as this team's future. Have so many young players here, and you love to see how well they've played. Jackson, obviously, one of those players, but Max, Lucas, those guys are excellent. And gotta love how devoted this team is, Speed Glasses and Azer as well. You gotta love how this team plays, and they're rowdy, always going to Game 5, it feels like. It's fine, though. You gotta love it when it goes the distance, because I'm not complaining for a great match, and you love to see those high-pressure, story arc moments, or these teams, you live and die by the fire and the forge and the blood and the steel you earn in this section here.
What he said. So SU now going to have 5 minutes to push the payload the rest of the way. Should be a good time. Really an advantageous position so far. A lot of that due to the play of our Winston. Really playing a lot better than USC's Winston, not to be blunt. Really interested to see whether that continues or whether the brief pause has given USC some time to say, all right, what's going on right now?
What's going on is apparently we are not ready because Jackson's right there behind us. Those piercing, beady, offensive eyes.
Offensive? That seems rude.
More like attacking.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay.
I used that word a bit wrong.
Yeah, he seems ready to play.
If he was ready to play, he'd be actually at the desk sitting down.
It's a really solid point. He seems ready to play with our emotions.
Yes.
Because he's just standing behind us, making us uncomfortable. Oh, there he goes.
There he goes. He's actually they're going to play Overwatch again, finally. It feels like 20 minutes ago.
Wait, that's what we do here?
That's what we do here? We play esports. If you haven't tuned in before. If you are a student here, it might be a little bit silly in the booth right now. It is silly hours. We head into the night, but you have to come down to the Shine Gaming and Esports Center. Beautiful space. Crown jewel of collegiate esports, I would say. No space like it feels like in the country, and you have it right here on your campus. If you are a Syracuse student, if you're in the area and are a Syracuse student, come.
Why not come
here? Come here now. Come here now. Play video games now.
You don't even have to play video games. You can sit in the corner and play board games.
You can also watch people play video games or watch people play board games, which is not esports. It's board games.
Absolutely. Anyways, we're back now. And things are going to get back started again. Excuse me. We are past the first checkpoint. SU looking to continue pushing. Winston already contesting them.
Fire up the engines. It's time to go. Speed Glasses. Again, just quick elimination there. ZZZ goes down and live and die by the Sojourn. Has the USC Trojans and LCIE going to get down Lunar. That push going to basically win the team fight for them. They're going to force the Orange off of site and backwards. LCIE, 2 eliminations, has gotten 3 of the 4 Cuse eliminations on that other side, or other eliminations of the Cuse. The Speed Glass is going to deploy Bob there. Going to give the Orange some space and allow them to, have a fighting chance as they basically use Bob as a tank. Pulsum goes out, misses entirely. Azer, that's unfortunate there. Was a little bit too close. Had a few pixels you could hit, had a few pixels you would miss. As Lunar stuck in the back line. Going to use that Primal Rage as Lunar going to back off from there.
Yeah, and you can already see the Karma, Winston, is already playing far better. Some really good adjustments made already.
Yeah, there's not a lot to harp on here as Lunar with the 4K just destroying them. Primal Rage, very good timing there. Went into the other team, did as much damage as they could, hit that Q button, and essentially turned into a game of Jaws, it felt like, running away from that Primal Rage. And a very good play from Lunar there. Saint, the only one left with the ult on the Orange side. Going to be 2 support ults for them eventually with 2 DPS ults to play against. LCIE has been lethal once they hit that Q button there. And Saint going to make that Winston lethal there as they just push them off site. Essentially, it's the I'm gonna make sure you can't come on to point ever again. At ZZZ and Ace behind Winston, doing a really good job to get rid of the rest of the team, as Lunar did not turn around in time to support them. LCIE gonna get Lunar on that other end. Speedglass is left to fend for themselves. They just get crushed by Karma.
Yeah,
how poetic is that?
It's, once again, very poetic, and it's live and die by the Winston right now. However good your Winston is playing is essentially how good that your team is going to be playing. And right now, Karma's really recovered. Karma's playing a great Winston game. And, Lunar's playing very well as well, but Karma really has turned it on.
I mean, we saw one team fight, unfortunately, but it was a 6-minute team fight that they didn't do much of anything. So, yeah, pretty good recovery, I'd say. Back in the other end, ult from Saint up top, leading the team forward, but down site is where it is going to be the most action happening. Kind of caught up 3 players up together with, up top with the Brig, and it's going to lead to a team kill when your entire back line has got Azer in it. Very tough to deal with.
Yeah, I am such a fan of the Tracer play from Azer. Really incredible stuff. Always finding the correct angle to go after the USC squishies, the USC supports, and really just doing an impressive job of managing to finish off the kill streak.
Has been shown why they're called squishies, those quick eliminations from Azer. Very, very good. Lunar ult again already. Doing a lot of damage for that orange side. Pushing forward. I think going to be a little bit more aggressive here, but you're going to want to wait a little bit longer. Karma boosted. Going to go right into the Primal Rage here, but gets slapped before they can. Going to be the end of the Ana ult. Excuse me, on the other end, Echo. Going to switch into Ana. Trying to get another support. Goes down. Well, not fully. The ultimate lost. Lunar pushing forward on that Primal Rage. Trying to defend. Oh my goodness, trying to defend Saint, and they do. Karma goes down, and Lunar able to prevent their support from being lost. Keeps the team fight alive. LCIE goes down. Didn't really know that there was a tank behind them. Lunar pushing forward, and another great push from the Orange. Team fight 1, pushing them back into their spawn. 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining as they close in the last 40 meters to the site.
Yeah, Karma trying to make something happen now, diving out. Not exactly using the dive to get in the back line, but just like to barely touch the front line.
Oh my goodness, bang! Saint with the double grenade, Azer, Lunar, all stuck in together, and they all go down, knock them down like pins, and it's a strike for the orange side. Just have the Winston to deal with, and they do. 10-player kill streak for Lunar, who has been hot as an understatement.
And that is going to, they managed to contest right at the end, but that is going to seem to do it, and there it is. SU gets all 3 points that they can from this first round.
2 minutes, 19 seconds to spare. Not like Kings Row. No late games heroics needed. As they move on, 3-0. Good spot for the Orange. But what do the Trojans have in response? Down in LA, it's warm. It's getting hotter in this game, and even hotter in this room as Lunar leads the charge. Very, very good stuff. What did you see out of Lunar that you really, really liked there?
Lunar was an absolute menace. The Lunar was everywhere all at once, and 2022 Oscars reference, Lunar was inside the back line that entire time, helped a lot by the play of Azer as Tracer, really just wreaking havoc, the two of them. Tracer finding those off angles, able to pop some shots at the lighter characters, and Lunar diving and finishing it off.
Vintage 2016 Overwatch, Tracer, Winston. It's like it's one of the cinematics of this game, and you gotta love how well they've been playing here. Ash against Speedglass is not to be, I guess, confused. Those bobs, they're basically filling tanks when Lunar dies, which has not been too often, but we'll have to see how Lunar plays the defense here. It's tough. This first site is tough on the defense for Winston. You don't have a lot of value you can get because the entire team is forced to play together, essentially. There's no one you can pick off, but there is space that can be grabbed, and we'll see if our Winston Lunar can do better on the defensive end here, specifically at the gas station, to fuel the Orange defense.
Absolutely. Going to be really interesting. Things are going to get started now, though, and here come the Trojans.
Initially here, we've got kind of a same push as the Orange here. Lunar going to lead the charge up top. Or rather, not Lunar, Karma going to lead the charge up top. And it's going to be just kind of how can you deal with this? And Lunar going to start by not going on that high ground initially, trying to get some more space, trying to get damage out. And LCIE goes down. That's the Cassidy that can't get any value as Max goes down as well. Support imbalance for the Orange. ADDL goes down, Lunar goes down, and that's a fight win, especially here. You need your Winston to push on this site.
Yeah, Azer just trying to maintain, find somebody to pick off. Really good. Z didn't even know that Azer was there, and that was an incredible kill.
Just gets mugged for all the money that they had. ZZZ goes down. Speedglasses goes forward on Ace, and Ace goes down there. In support and balance, and Winston feeling that right there, has to go backwards. Only one support to get. The Orange might take advantage of that. They won't. Backing off now. Winston going to do the same thing that we saw Karma try to do earlier, but the difference is how important that team is going to be. Left abandoned is Speed Glasses, but able to use their own util to keep themselves alive. That shotgun 85 damage out close blasts away their Winston. Lunar are going to get one in the form of Cassidy, who has not gotten any value, and we're going to see them switch back to Sojourn. On Q almost. As ZZZ goes down as well to Speed Glasses. Just domination on the DPS front, it feels like, from the Orange.
Yes, and Speed Glasses is really huge part of that, and Lunar a really huge part of that. Lunar, who ended up jumping up and finishing off Z there. Really great stuff, and Winston, the Winston play from both teams has been exceptional, I'm going to be honest. But Lunar just doing a outstanding job, even more so.
You're seeing difficulty the Trojans not have as the Annas trade. Speed Glasses and Karma, the doers of that. LCIE goes down as Lunar gets one more. LCIE and ZZZ struggling so much this game. Cannot defend their supports and cannot get support because of it. They go down once again. I think 2 or 3 elims between the two of them so far this second half.
Yeah, really incredible play there. You just saw it from the Winston diving in, saw that their support was going down, and Lunar just came in at the right time. Orange have it's actually pretty even on ult now that I look at it. Orange have 3, and USC have 2, and almost a third. So we're going to probably start to see some ults being popped soon.
A's a really good tracer here, forcing ZZZ to go defend themselves. They're not going to go down, going to get some heals, but Nace support looks the other way. 3 go down on the side of USC. Make it 4, LCIE. Bang in the Orange, 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Another team fight win as they are rolling on this defensive side. Trojans can do nothing as they try and match that comp fully now.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing 2 very similar plays. We're going to see whether that Tracer can be as effective as Azer has been. I mean, Azer's been pretty much unstoppable. It's going to be real interesting. That's something that I'm looking out for as this game enters the closing stage.
Z going to get their first elimination in the second half. Lunar going to get ADDL in the consolation there, though. Good pick on a support from the Orange. Gonna see Bob come out here. Basically reinforcing point. You have a defender all the time here in the last minute. Gonna force just some time buying for the Orange as Max on the bridge at this time instead of Saint. Saint on the Ana, like you mentioned, you saw earlier, better on the defense, more range, especially in this initial gas station area. Lunar getting up top, gonna deal with that Ana. No supports now as Ace goes down to Lunar's fist, and 2 supports down for Lunar, who is going to just roll over this team. 3 of a kind. Call it a poker hand, call it Yahtzee, but this is a very good section from the Orange.
Yeah, Lunar just went, quite frankly, ballistic. That was incredible.
Velatro.
Oh. Yeah, something like that. I agree. I'm a big fan of Velatro, but I'm not sure if it was applicable there.
I'm a big fan of an Orange win here. 10 seconds from it if they can manage to hold on. Gonna have an overtime opportunity is USC unless they can't touch. Azar nails LCIE, wins that Tracer 1v1. ADDL goes down to Lunar, and there will be no chance for the Trojans if they can't get on. Lunar and Max get one more. Azar goes down, and that's a team kill. Your Syracuse Orange 3-2 now as they win Game 5 against the USC Trojans.
Incredible. Getting back above 500, exactly what you want to see from the Orange in that matchup. Fought through some adversity. They had to win both of their last 2 games. They had their backs against the wall, and they just started swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging, and eventually took home the dub. Incredible stuff.
Gotta love the number 6 reference there. Syracuse, you're seeing ZZZ right now. They shut Z down that second half, and that was crucial. DPSs could do nothing against the Orange. Lunar, unreal Winston play. Backline destroyed, frontline destroyed. It didn't matter where you were. Lunar, you saw Lunar.
Yeah, Lunar, absolutely, in my opinion, I mean, between Lunar and Azer, for that one, but I'm going to go with Lunar, playing a character that hadn't been touched yet by the Orange that whole game and just wreaked havoc with Winston Overwatch in the backline that entire time.
You can call it eclipsed if you want to, but that is just what Lunar does. It feels like some days Winston has been one of those characters that Lunar has stuck with for a very long time. Saw the Mauga play, saw the Orisa, whenever they needed it, whatever they needed. The Orange called and Lunar answered. Has to be my player of the game, but got to give credits due to Azer, all the other players there, Jackson as well. Got the nosebleed and got the job done as a support.
Whole team win. Incredible play. Improvement, I would say, from week to week to week. Things just keep looking up for SU. Things just keep, I'm going to bring it back to the beginning, blossoming.
It's a really good point, and a win like this can't get much better other than with sprinkles. Next week, they will have a week off, then they'll go play Nebraska Lincoln. Orange 3-2. After this, one more win, they should secure the 3 or 4 seed, depending on how the rest of the matches played out tonight. But that's going to be all for you from upstate New York. I'm Carson Cass. This is Jack Elliott. Thank you so much for tuning in this long if you are here this late. And get ready for April. The Sin City has got plenty of action for you. Keep an eye out for those streams. That's going to be all we have from upstate New York. Thank you very much for watching, and that's all.